My name is Susan Miller. I'm 47 years old. I've been married to John for 25 years. Our family includes John, who is also 47, and our daughter Emily, who is in high school. But something happened because of John that almost broke our family apart. It all began when John forgot his phone at home one day when he went to work. He's always on that thing during meals. It's no wonder he leaves it behind sometimes. When I picked up his phone, I saw messages from a woman I didn't know. Are you coming over today or staying with your wife? I need to talk to you, Mia, so please come over. What is all this? I panicked as I read the shocking messages. Then my husband John, realizing he'd forgotten his phone, returned home. Do you know where my phone is? It looks like I left it at home. Come on, if you have it, just give it back. I'm going to be late for work. What's going on? Who's this legal wife? And who's Mia? When I confronted him, John seemed surprised at first but then sighed heavily and began to explain. I was planning to tell you about this. I had everything prepared, but I guess getting caught now is probably the right timing. The right timing? What do you mean? Just like you're thinking, I have a mistress. Those messages you saw were from her. What? You've been cheating. For how long? I guess it's been over 15 years now. Over 15 years? Yeah, her daughter is in junior high school now. She's technically my child. She would be Emily's half-sister. She's facing high school entrance this year. It's going to be tough. So I'm planning to divorce you and marry her. I intend to support my daughter as a father. I couldn't understand what John was saying at all. Daughter Emily is your daughter too, isn't she? Don't you care about her? I didn't say I didn't care about her. Emily has been my precious daughter for 17 years too, but I don't plan to take her with me. It would be awkward to have a daughter who's not biologically related to her mother and the family, you know. Everyone would feel uncomfortable. So I'll leave Emily to you. In return, I'll make sure to pay child support until she graduates from college. And if Emily reaches out, I'll be willing to talk. So that should be fine, right? Are you serious? I'm dead serious. In fact, I think I'm offering a pretty good deal. Oh, and here, I shouldn't forget to give this to you. What's this? I've already filled in my part, so just write down yours and submit it. Let me know once you've filed the divorce papers. I'll come to pick up my stuff once the divorce is finalized. Wait a minute. What are you saying? You're not coming back. Yeah, I'll be living at her place from now on. I'll talk to my folks. You just take care of Emily and don't do anything unnecessary. Well then, thanks for the last 25 years. Take care. Hey, just wait. John handed me a divorce paper and left the house in his usual attire for work. I'm sure her place must have been prepared with all the living necessities for him. How could this? What am I supposed to do now? What's wrong? Why are you upset so early in the morning? Did something happen? My daughter Emily, who was home for the school holiday, came over to me as I was feeling distressed. I shouldn't have burdened her with such heavy news, but in that moment, I ended up telling her everything. Dad has a mistress. He gave me this and left. What? Cheating? And this is a divorce paper? Is Dad serious about this? Why would he? He apparently has another child with his mistress. A child? So I have a half-sister? Yes, from another mother. And what did he say about it? He said he'll pay child support. To take care of you. What about apologies to you? Well, you're the one most affected, Mom, and there are no apologies. What is he thinking? After hearing my story, Emily bit her lip, thinking for a moment before responding. I see. If Dad's going to act like this, then we'll have to come up with our own plan. Huh? What do you mean? Don't worry, it's nothing dangerous. Since Dad seems to have no remorse for betraying us for over 15 years, we'll make sure he deeply regrets what he did. But of course, that requires some planning. But Mom, you're not blaming yourself for Dad's actions, are you? It's all Dad's fault. You don't need to feel guilty. We don't need to hold back. As we watch Dad face the consequences, he's getting what he deserves. So it's only fair that we make sure Dad understands the pain he's caused, right? Well, my daughter is actually the smartest kid in the USA. Her intelligence has amazed adults since she was little. She probably already has a plan in mind for this. Just wait, Mom. I promise I'll make Dad regret what he did. With that, Emily wore a mischievous smile. A month later, Emily and I had settled into our new routine, just the two of us. The door creaked open, and in walked my husband John, but with patches of his hair shaved off as if by a clipper. The first thing he said was, "What the hell were you thinking?" Dad stormed into the house with clippers in hand. "After hearing everything from you, look what you've done to me," he said, pointing at his patchy haircut. John went on a tirade. He explained how he was relaxing at his mistress's house when suddenly his father showed up with clippers and gave him an unplanned haircut. Then he managed to escape and rushed back home in this state just to give me a piece of his mind. "I warned you, didn't I? I talked to Dad, so you weren't supposed to do anything unnecessary. You know how much Dad hates dishonesty. He's always been strict with me because of that, and it's been traumatic. Despite knowing that, you still went and told on me. Are you jealous? Jealous that we might be happy while you're stuck in misery? Is that why you haven't filed for divorce yet? Then you spill everything to Dad. You're truly pathetic. The reason I cheated was because I couldn't stand this side of you, you coward. That's when it happened." "What are you misunderstanding? It wasn't Mom who told Grandpa everything. It was me," my daughter calmly responded to the raging John. "What? So Grandpa attacked with clippers, huh? Just as I expected." "What do you mean, as expected? Emily, did you tell Grandpa to attack me with clippers?" "No, I didn't say that. I just handed something to Grandpa, proof of your affair. This goes back a month. Hey Mom, what do you think is the scariest thing to Dad in this world?" Soon after John left, Emily asked me that question. The scariest thing to him? Yes, that would be Grandpa. I once asked Dad what he was most afraid of in this world. He immediately answered Dad. I had also heard about it before. My father-in-law detests dishonesty above all and wouldn't hesitate to correct anyone behaving improperly, even strangers. John was raised strictly by my father-in-law since childhood and said he could never go against him. Dad said before he left, "I'll talk to Dad about it, so don't do anything unnecessary." That's because the last thing Dad wanted was for Grandpa to find out about this situation. So I'm pretty sure Dad won't tell Grandpa the real reason for the divorce. He might say we just couldn't agree on things, or worse, he might even claim you cheated. That's terrible. That's why we need to act first to prevent that from happening. Plus, there's another benefit to telling Grandpa first. Dad is an employee at the company Grandpa runs. Dad got the job through connections, thanks to Grandpa, and has climbed up to the position of manager. Can you imagine what would happen if Grandpa, who hates dishonesty, found out about Dad's affair and secret child of over 15 years? It's going to be a big mess, maybe even a trigger for Dad to get fired. Dad seems to have earned some trust at his company, but Grandpa is definitely Dad's Achilles heel. That's why I plan to use this to our advantage and push Dad into the depths of hell. But first, I need to gather solid evidence of the affair to make Grandpa understand. Saying that, Emily opened the laptop Dad had left behind. Evidence. How are you going to? Normally, you'd need a detective agency to catch evidence of an affair. And there's probably a password on that laptop, right? I doubt you'd leave anything compromising on it. Normally, yes, but I don't need any of that. There's no point in paying someone to find something that's right here. Saying that, my daughter dismissed my concerns and rapidly typed on the keyboard, managing to unlock it in just a few seconds. She then extracted all the relevant information contained within. Wow, you really unlocked it. Well, of course. This is nothing for me now. Let's see what kind of evidence Dad left on this laptop. From their exchanges, it looks like Dad's mistress was an ex-girlfriend they reconnected. When I was still in your belly, Mom, that reunion sparked an affair that lasted over 15 years. Look, here's a photo. Dad's mistress seems to be this woman. Mom, do you recognize her? The photo Emily showed me was one of Dad and his mistress looking very close. I had seen the woman in the photo before. She's Dad's childhood friend. She got married early and moved away from her hometown. But after her divorce, she came back. I met her once when we visited his parents. I see. So she came back to town, and that's when the affair started. I'm truly appalled by my own father. Suddenly, Emily froze upon seeing a particular photo. What's wrong? Did you find something? Look at this. Emily looked at a photo of a girl who appeared to be the hidden child. Probably this is my half-sister, Dad's secret child. Are you okay? If it's too hard for you, Mom can take over, and you don't have to do this anymore, Emily. No, it's not that I mind. I want to see this through to the end. Saying that, Emily turned back to the computer. It seems like this girl hasn't been officially recognized as Dad's child. He hasn't acknowledged her. Well, that makes sense. He was probably planning to acknowledge her after the divorce. I'm not sure if this girl knows about us yet, as Dad said. It's confirmed he has a secret child, but I found out something else that's shocking. Shocking? Dad seems to have bought them a condo. What? A condo? Yes, a new condo right in front of the station. Given the location and it's a high-rise, it must be quite expensive. Oh look, the price is listed online. When I checked the price of the condo my husband bought for his mistress, it was a whopping $1 million. On the other hand, we live in a rental condo I've been leasing since my single days. We discussed buying a house many times, but his consistent response was renting is more cost-effective. So there was this reason behind it. Is that all the information? I was expecting a bit more, honestly. Isn't this enough? It's sufficient, but I wanted more concrete evidence, like photos of them coming out of a hotel. The information we got from this computer includes the mistress and the hidden child's names and photos, and the fact that Dad bought a condo for his mistress. How about we make a direct visit to the condo? If we capture photos of them coming out, that could serve as evidence. Aren't you curious about what kind of life they're leading? Saying that, Emily grinned mischievously. The next day, we headed to the condo where we presumed Dad was staying. The condo looks bigger than in the photos. Really, it's surprising he had enough money to buy a condo for his mistress. Where did he get the money? Mom, isn't that Dad? Looks like they're heading out as a family, Emily pointed. And there were Dad, his mistress, and the hidden child. I quickly captured their image on my camera. From the outside, they look like a normal family. You wouldn't think he's been having an affair for 15 years. They must be considered a happy family by the neighbors. At that moment, we overheard a conversation from the three passing right by our hiding spot. Hey, when's the divorce going to be finalized? You shoved the divorce papers at your official wife before leaving, right? Yeah, but she seems reluctant. Hasn't got any message that she submitted the divorce papers, even though I said I'd pay alimony. What's she hesitating for? Maybe she still has feelings for you, who knows? But even if that's true, you're the only one for me since the beginning. I have no intention of getting back with her, John. Hey, Dad, what about me? I'm more important than that other daughter, right? Of course you're my only daughter, Mia. Yay, I don't care if she goes to some famous high school or whatever. Dad chose me. I wonder what kind of face she's making now, being abandoned by Dad. Poor thing. Hearing their outrageous conversation left us astounded. Then, I thought she didn't know since she's not recognized, but she knew about us. No need to hold back then. Let's not just plunge Dad into hell. But those two as well. Emily seemed even more determined to seek revenge after overhearing their talk, glaring at the three with a wrathful expression. But it's good we came here. We got a video of the three leaving the condo, and thanks to their chatter so close to us, we caught their entire conversation. With this evidence, I bet we can demand a much higher amount, and Grandpa won't stay silent for sure. With that evidence in hand, we went to a law firm to draft the claim documents. For the finishing touch, Emily and I headed to my in-laws' house. It's rare for you to visit without notice and just the two of you at that. Something happened. Actually, I shared everything that had occurred with my in-laws, Mike and Lily. Mike started trembling and then exploded in rage. Over 15 years of cheating, and he even has a secret child. That bastard, where is he now? He's been at his mistress's place since he left in the condo he bought her, right in front of the station. What? When Dad said, my daughter is only Mia. Only you, does Dad hate me? After living together all this time, he values that woman's child more. And if Mom and Dad get divorced, does that mean I'm no longer Grandpa and Grandma's granddaughter? I don't want that, Emily. That's not going to happen. Even if they get divorced, you're our only granddaughter. Don't worry, Grandpa will make sure he pays for this. His expression was exactly like Emily's that time. He had a look of burning vengeance on his face. And then, a few days after we left his house, Mike, armed with a clipper, raided the apartment where he was staying. That's how we got to this point. You did this. Sorry to shock you, but I have something to give you. With that, I handed my ex-husband a brown envelope. What's this? Open it, you'll see. He hesitantly opened the envelope and turned pale upon seeing the contents. What? Why? Inside the brown envelope were documents related to child support and division of property. Why? You're wondering why Dad did warrants paying this entire amount, right? I can't understand why you'd question that. But this amount is just since you seem not to understand. Let me explain. It was determined by several factors. I think what Dad has to pay Mom is fair. For that amount, I still have an issue with the amount, but this division of property is absurd. Why do I have to sell the condo I bought? That's ridiculous. I thought you'd say that. What? The condo you bought for your mistress in your name is subject to division of property. That's a well-established fact. It's not something you can argue against. What about them then? You're not telling me they have to leave, are you? Exactly. If a house is being sold, the people living there need to leave. You're heartless. I'll throw those words right back at you. After all these 15 years, you've really outdone yourself in deceiving us, you coward. You seem quite unhappy with these documents, but no matter what you say here, Dad's wishes won't be met. These aren't documents we made up. They were professionally drafted by a lawyer we hired. So if you have any issues with the amount, why don't you hire a lawyer yourself and file an appeal? Whether that'll be successful or not, I can't say. Hearing this, my husband blurted out, Okay, I get it. I'll break it off with her and move out of that condo. That's what you want, right? Apparently, the idea of paying hefty alimony was too much for him. He said he'd break up with her and return home. However, things didn't go as he had hoped. Break up? Move out? Do as you like. It's no longer my concern. Not your concern. This is about us. We're married. We should talk more. Are you misunderstanding something? We're nothing to each other anymore, complete strangers. What are you saying? But you haven't submitted the divorce papers yet. That's only because I've been too busy dealing with your mess to get in touch. I submitted the divorce papers the day you left, so we're already divorced. What? Too bad, Dad. It's too late. The divorce papers have been processed, and you two are divorced. As for the documents, we'll be claiming accordingly. Damn it. And don't forget about the child support payments. I heard it from Mom. You said it yourself, right? That as a father, you would diligently pay child support until I graduate from college. Thinking back, I can't recall any fatherly things you've done for me, but at least for this last part, be responsible and live up to your word, Dad. Jan was left speechless by Emily's words. Then, that moment came. A call came through on my phone. It was John's father, Mike, probably anticipating that the ex-husband had stormed back to me. He called, and his guess was spot on. Seeing that I was on the phone with his father, the ex-husband's face turned pale. Mike wants to talk to you, Dad. No, tell him I'm not here. That's impossible. Besides, Dad knows you're here, so avoiding him now will only make things worse later, won't it? Reluctantly, he took the phone and started talking. Dad, what do you want? I didn't. Why do I have to come home? Wait just a minute. Hey, what did he say? He said I have to come home because he has something to talk about. Well, you better go then. Go? Are you kidding? If I go to Dad, I'm finished. What should I do? But fretting about it here isn't going to help, is it? What do you mean? Grandpa said you're fired. Why? I don't know the details, but if it's serious enough for a firing warning over an affair, you must have done something quite bad, right? Well, looks like you do have an idea by that expression. Then you better hurry to Grandpa's place. Hearing his daughter's words, the ex-husband rushed out of the house in a panic. It seems his position meant everything to him after all. Dad, that was quicker than expected. I heard from Emily. Are you serious about firing me, Dad? Just because of this affair, which has nothing to do with work. And now you're firing me? This is clearly wrongful dismissal. Wrongful dismissal? Have you forgotten all the mistakes you've made? Unauthorized absences, being late, trouble with employees at partner companies are everyday occurrences. Other employees had to clean up your messes while you strolled around like you own the place because you're the president's son and the presumed next president. It's only natural you be laid off for this. This is a fair decision. But so suddenly. True, I've turned a blind eye until now because you're my son, but that ends today. What do you mean by that? After today, I'm cutting ties with you. You betrayed the two people you should have cherished most, trying to find happiness just for yourself. You're no longer my son or anything to me. Never show your face to me again. No, this can't be true. To my father-in-law's declaration, the ex-husband was fired. Furthermore, being told that their familial bond was severed, he collapsed to his knees, screaming in agony. When my father-in-law told us this, Emily and I high-fived each other. However, a few days later, he did as Emily suggested and hired a lawyer to dispute my claims, but his appeal was rejected. In the end, he had to pay exactly as I initially demanded. It seemed John's mistress was entirely dependent on the ex-husband's salary, being a part-time housewife with a meager monthly income. Hence, I admit to what I've done and I'm reflecting on it, but I can't pay such an amount. Half? No, even a 30% reduction would be appreciated. She pleaded for a reduction, as if haggling at a market, but I rejected it. Eventually, her parents had to pay off the debt in her stead. Thus, even though he got his wish to remarry his mistress, he ended up in a terrible living situation. Of course, the hidden child who was supposed to enroll in high school couldn't do it due to her parents' self-inflicted plight. As for us, then, Mom, I'm going to take care. You too, it's really dangerous out there these days. I know, Emily. If anything happens, make sure to contact me. Even if nothing happens, I'll still check in often, and I'll come back home, even if you get tired of me. Since then, Emily has been attending a university and is living on her own for the first time today. But I'm not too worried. After everything she's managed to pull off almost single-handedly, I'm sure she can overcome anything that comes her way.
The email confirmation glowed on my screen like a beacon of freedom. After 6 years of working myself to exhaustion, my dream job in London was finally within reach. Senior Relocation Consultant at Marshall & Reed International, the kind of position that could change everything. My name is Melanie, and I should have known better than to celebrate too early. I printed the flight confirmation, tucking it into my laptop bag with trembling fingers. The house was quiet when I got home, which should have been my first warning sign. Mum's car was in the driveway, but the living room lights were off. Usually, she'd be watching her reality shows, wine glass in hand. "Melanie?" Her voice cut through the darkness. She flicked on the lamp, making me jump. She sat in her favourite armchair, face drawn into that familiar expression of disapproval. "We need to talk." "Can it wait? I have some work to finish." "I cancelled your flight." The words hit like a physical blow. "What?" "I used your booking reference, told them there was a family emergency." She took a sip from her wine glass, dark red liquid catching the lamplight. "You can't leave right now. We need you here." My brother Cole's laughter echoed from the kitchen. He appeared in the doorway, car keys dangling from his finger. "Perfect timing, sis. The BMW payment is due next week. You're still covering that, right?" The room started spinning. 6 years of supporting them. 6 years of just until Mum gets back on her feet and Cole just needs help starting out. 6 years of watching my savings drain away while they lived, like nothing had changed since Dad died. "You had no right," I managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. "I had every right," Mum snapped. "I'm your mother, and this family comes first, always." Cole dropped onto the couch, scrolling through his phone. "Besides, what's so great about London? You've got a perfectly good job here." "A job that pays for your car," I said, "and Mum's credit cards, and this house." "Exactly." Mum stood up, swaying slightly. "We're a family. We support each other. You can't just abandon us for some selfish dream." I looked at them both, really looked at them. Mum in her expensive silk robe, fresh from her weekly spa day. Cole in his designer clothes, paid for with my overtime hours. They weren't even trying to hide their manipulation anymore. "I'm going to bed," I said quietly, turning away before they could see my face. "Melanie!" Mum called after me. "Don't you dare walk away when I'm talking to you." I closed my bedroom door, locked it, and pressed my forehead against the cool wood. My hands were shaking as I pulled out my phone and opened the photos I'd taken earlier that week, pictures of the lease agreement Mum had signed 3 months ago when we renewed. My name wasn't on it. She'd been so confident I'd never leave. She hadn't even bothered to add me as a tenant. Just her and Cole, living in a house I paid for but had no legal obligation to maintain. My phone buzzed with a text from Cole. "Don't be dramatic. You know you can't survive without us." I opened my laptop and pulled up the utility accounts, all in my name, all paid from my account. Then my banking app, showing thousands in transfers to Mom and Cole over the years. Finally, the London job offer letter, promising a fresh start and a salary that could actually build a future. They thought they owned me, thought they could clip my wings and keep me caged in this toxic nest forever. But they'd made one crucial mistake. They'd gotten sloppy, comfortable. They'd left me just enough rope to hang them with. I opened a new document and started typing, "Notice of Utility Service Termination." My hands weren't shaking anymore. In fact, I felt calmer than I had in years. They wanted to play family. Fine. I'd show them exactly what happens when you push someone too far. Some daughters inherit jewellery, I whispered to myself, starting the first of many emails that would change everything. I inherited a lesson in karma. My phone kept buzzing with texts from Mom and Cole, but I ignored them. They'd signed their own fate and didn't even know it. By cancelling my flight, they just freed me to focus on something far more important than London: revenge. And unlike them, I'd make sure to do it by the book. They did what? Tiffany's coffee cup clattered against the saucer. We were sitting in a quiet corner of the cafe across from my office, far from any familiar faces. Cancelled my flight, just like that. I pushed my untouched muffin around the plate. Mum used my booking reference, claimed there was a family emergency. That's actually illegal, isn't it? Probably. I pulled out my phone, showing her the lease agreement photos. But look what I found. Tiffany's eyes widened as she scrolled. "Your name's not even on here, after everything you've paid. 6 years of rent, utilities, groceries." I took a sip of my now cold coffee. "Remember when I had to drop out of college that first time? When your mum said she was sick?" I laughed bitterly. She had exhaustion. Code 4, she maxed out her credit cards and needed my tuition money to avoid bankruptcy. Meanwhile, she never missed a Botox appointment. Tiffany reached across the table, squeezing my hand. "What are you going to do?" I already started. I pulled up my email. "See this? Legal consultation request with Rohan from work. He specialises in property law." "The cute one with the glasses?" "Focus, Tiff," but I couldn't help smiling. "I'm removing myself from all utilities. Once they're shut off, Mom and Cole will have to put them in their names, with their credit scores. Good luck." "And the rent?" "That's the best part. Since I'm not on the lease, I have zero legal obligation to pay it. They signed a contract they can't afford." Tiffany leaned back, studying me. "This isn't just about the flight, is it?" The memory hit me like a wave, standing in the grocery store at 19, calculating if I could afford both food and Mum's prescription copay, while she texted me photos from her spa day. "They've been bleeding me dry for years. Every time I try to build something for myself, they tear it down." My phone buzzed. A text from Cole. "Where's the car payment? It's due tomorrow." "Delete," I muttered, swiping it away. He'd bought that BMW knowing I'd have to cover it. Didn't even ask first. "Miss Walsh?" A familiar voice made me look up. Rohan stood there, leather briefcase in hand. "I got your email. Do you have a moment?" I gestured to the empty chair. "Perfect timing. What's the verdict?" He pulled out some papers. "It's actually quite straightforward. Since you're not on the lease, you can terminate utility services with 30 days' notice. As for the eviction," he adjusted his glasses, "the landlord is within their rights to begin proceedings as soon as rent is late. And if they claim I verbally agreed to pay, without written documentation, they don't have a case." He paused, studying my face. "Are you sure you want to go nuclear? Family situations can get messy." I thought about Mum's wine-soaked accusations, Cole's entitled demands, all those years of manipulation disguised as love. This is mercy, actually. They need to learn to stand on their own feet. I'll draft the notices today, Rohan said, standing. He hesitated. For what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. After he left, Tiffany raised an eyebrow. Okay, he is cute. Not the point. But I felt lighter somehow. I need to get back to work. Want to help me apartment hunt this weekend? Already found you one. She slid her phone across the table, showing a listing. My cousin's condo. She's in Dubai for a year. Says you can move in whenever. I stared at the photos, bright, modern, empty of family drama. Tiff? Hey, what are best friends for? She grabbed her purse. Besides, I want front row seats when your mum realises her cash cow is leaving the barn. Back at my desk, I started drafting emails to every utility company. Each click felt like breaking another chain. A message popped up from Mum. We need to discuss your attitude. Family dinner tonight. Be there. I typed out my response. Working late. Don't wait up. Then I opened my browser and started searching for a name I remembered from childhood. Paris, Mum's estranged sister. The one we were never allowed to talk about. If anyone knew where all our family money had really gone, it would be her. My phone lit up with another demand from Cole about his car payment. I turned it face down, focusing on my search. They wanted to play games with my future? Fine. But they were about to learn that some games end with everyone losing. Except me. I planned to win this one. The first utility shut-off notice arrived on a Tuesday. I heard Mum's shriek from my bedroom, followed by thundering footsteps up the stairs. What is this? She burst through my door, waving the paper. The power company says service will be terminated in 2 weeks. I didn't look up from my laptop. You'll need to put it in your name. Don't be ridiculous. Fix this. No. The silence that followed was deafening. Mum stepped closer, her perfume suffocating in the small room. What did you say? I said no. I finally met her eyes. I'm removing myself from all the utilities. You and Cole are on the lease. You can handle the bills. Her face paled. We can't afford. That sounds like a you problem. I turned back to my work. Maybe skip a few spa days. She grabbed my arm. You ungrateful little... Take your hand off me, I said quietly, or I'll call the police and report you for assault. She recoiled like I'd slapped her. I'm your mother. And I'm not your ATM. The house phone started ringing, probably the water company with their shut-off notice. Mum stormed out, slamming my door hard enough to rattle the pictures on my wall. An hour later, Cole's BMW pulled into the driveway. I watched through my window as 2 men in uniforms approached him. Repo men. No, 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 Cole's voice carried clearly. There must be some mistake. My sister handles the payments. I opened my window slightly to hear better. Sir, the payment is 3 weeks overdue. We have a repossession order. Just let me call her. Cole pulled out his phone, but I'd already blocked his number. This is bullshit. That's my car. Actually, one of the men said, it's the bank's car, and they want it back. I filmed the whole thing on my phone, Cole's tantrum, him kicking the BMW's tyre, the repo men calmly doing their jobs. Good evidence in case he tried anything stupid later. Melanie, Mum's voice echoed through the house. Get down here now. I stayed put, listening to their conversation drift up through the heating vent. She's lost her mind, Cole was saying. First the utilities, now my car. I know, sweetie. She's just going through a phase. A phase? My car just got repossessed. I need that for work. You haven't had a job in 2 years, I muttered to myself. Mum's voice dropped lower. I need to call Paris. Aunt Paris? Why? Because... Mum's voice shook. She might be our only option now. I sat up straighter. Mum never mentioned her sister. Ever. The last time I'd asked about Aunt Paris, I'd been grounded for a week. My phone buzzed. A text from Tiffany. "Your stuff's all moved to my cousin's place. Keys are at my office whenever you're ready." Freedom was so close I could taste it. But first, I needed to know what Mum was hiding. I crept downstairs, staying just out of sight of the kitchen where Mum was on the phone. "Paris, please. I know we haven't spoken, but—" "Yes, it's about the money." "No, she doesn't know yet." "Paris, you can't tell her about the trust fund. It would ruin everything." "Trust fund? What trust fund?" "Paris, please, I needed that money. Cole was just a baby, and after John died. Yes, I know it was meant for Melanie's education, but—" My hand flew to my mouth, stifling a gasp. The pieces started falling into place. Dad's death when I was 14, the mysterious college fund that had run dry, Mum's sudden spending sprees. "Paris, if you tell her, I'll deny everything. There's no proof." "Hello? Paris?" I backed away silently, my mind racing. There had been money, my money, and Mum had stolen it. Back in my room, I pulled up my search for Paris again. This time, I had a better idea what I was looking for. A knock at my door made me jump. "Mel?" Cole's voice was thick with tears. "Please, I need my car. I'll lose my job." "What job?" "You're nothing without this family," he shouted, mask cracking. "You hear me? Nothing." I waited until his footsteps faded, then opened my email. Subject line: Dear Aunt Paris. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. Sometimes it's served with proof. The eviction notice appeared on our front door like a declaration of war. I heard Cole rip it down, followed by Mum's scream that rattled the windows. "Melanie!" I stepped out of my room, laptop tucked under my arm. "Yes?" Mum thrust the crumpled notice in my face. "What is this?" "Looks like an eviction notice." "Don't you dare play games with me!" Her voice shook with rage. "Fix this, now!" "I can't." I kept my voice level. "I'm not on the lease, remember? You and Cole signed it. You're responsible for the rent, which you've always paid. Out of the goodness of my heart, not legal obligation." Cole charged up the stairs, face red. "You evil little—" "Careful," I warned. "Assault charges won't look good on your non-existent resume." "We're family!" Mum's mascara was running. "You can't do this to family." "Family?" I laughed. "Was it family when you stole my trust fund?" The colour drained from her face. "What? Oh, did you think Aunt Paris wouldn't tell me? The money Dad left for my education?" Cole looked confused. "What trust fund?" "The one Mum emptied when I was 14. I turned to her. "Want to tell him, or should I?" "You don't understand," she whispered. "We needed that money." "For what? Your spa days? His BMW?" I opened my laptop, showing them my bank statements. "Look at these transfers. Thousands every month for years, while I worked overtime, cancelled vacations, gave up my own dreams." "You're nothing without us," Cole shouted. "Who do you think you are?" "I'm someone who's done being your personal bank." I started down the stairs. "You have 30 days to vacate. I suggest you start packing." Mum grabbed my arm. "If you do this, you'll regret it. I'll tell everyone what an ungrateful daughter you are." "Go ahead." I pulled free. "Tell them how you stole my inheritance. Tell them how you forced me to drop out of college. Tell them everything. I'm your mother." "No." I reached the front door. "You're my cautionary tale." At work, I found Imran waiting at my desk with coffee. "Heard you could use this." "That obvious, huh?" "You look like you're fighting a war." He perched on my desk edge. "Want to talk about it?" I told him everything. The cancelled flight, the utilities, the eviction, the trust fund. His expression darkened with each detail. "That's not family," he said finally. "That's financial abuse." "I know that now." I sipped the coffee. He'd remembered exactly how I liked it. "I just wish I'd seen it sooner. Better late than never." He hesitated. Listen, there's a position opening in our London office. Senior level, better pay than your original offer. I could put in a word. You'd do that? In a heartbeat. His smile was warm. You deserve better than what they've given you. My phone buzzed. Texts from Mum and Cole, threats and guilt trips lighting up my screen. I blocked both numbers. Thank you, I told Imran, for everything. Back at the house, I found my bedroom door kicked in, my possessions scattered across the floor. Cole stood in the middle of the chaos, chest heaving. Still think you're better than us, he snarled. I pulled out my phone and dialed. Yes, police. I'd like to report a break-in and vandalism. You wouldn't dare. My brother broke into my room and destroyed my property. I have video evidence of him threatening me earlier today. Cole's face went from red to white. Mel, wait. Officers are on their way. Thank you. He fled downstairs as sirens approached. Mum appeared in the doorway, looking smaller somehow. Please, she whispered. We can fix this. No. I started gathering my important documents. We can't. The police arrived, took statements, warned Cole about trespassing. I watched from my window as he paced the driveway, ranting into his phone about his ungrateful sister. My phone lit up with a message from an unknown number. This is Paris. Got your email. Let's meet tomorrow. There's more you need to know. I looked around my destroyed room, at the life they'd tried to trap me in. Tomorrow couldn't come soon enough. Because sometimes the truth isn't just about getting even. Sometimes it's about getting free. I recognised Aunt Paris the moment she walked into the cafe. She had Mum's high cheekbones, but none of her artificial polish. Just simple clothes and kind eyes that crinkled when she saw me. You look just like your father, she said, sliding into the booth. Mum hates that people say that. Your mother hates a lot of things that remind her she's not in control. Paris pulled out a thick manila envelope, including me. Because you know about the trust fund? I know about everything, Melanie. She opened the envelope. I was the executor of your father's will. My coffee went cold as she laid out document after document. Bank statements, legal papers, letters. Your father left you everything, Paris explained. The house, his savings, his shares in his company. It was meant to be held in trust until you turned 25. My hands shook as I picked up a bank statement. This says $500,000 plus the house and company shares. Paris's voice hardened. Until Noelle forged my signature and emptied everything when you were 14. How? She knew the right people, paid them well with your money. She pushed forward a letter. This was from your father to you. She kept it hidden. The paper felt fragile in my hands. Dad's handwriting was exactly as I remembered. My dearest Melanie, I read aloud, throat tight. If you're reading this, I didn't make it, but I made sure you'll be taken care of. The house is yours. The business is yours. Your future is secure. Don't let anyone take that from you. Love, Dad. She took everything, Paris said softly. The house was sold and rebought in her name. The business shares cashed out. The trust fund drained. For what? My voice cracked. Designer clothes, vacations, status. Your mother's always been obsessed with appearances. Paris pulled out more papers. But here's what she doesn't know. I kept copies of everything. The original will, the forged documents, the transfer records, even recordings of her threatening the bank manager. I stared at the evidence of my stolen life. Why didn't you come forward sooner? She threatened to hurt you if I did. Paris's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry, Melanie. I should have found another way. It's not your fault. I touched the letter again. But we can make it right. The statute of limitations on fraud hasn't expired. She smiled grimly. And I've got an excellent lawyer. My phone buzzed. Mom calling from a new number. I declined it. She's desperate, I said. The utilities are being cut off. Evictions in process. Karma's finally catching up. Paris hesitated. There's something else you should know about your real last name. What do you mean? The name on your birth certificate isn't Walsh. It's Reeves, your father's name. Noelle changed it after he died, said it would be easier if you matched her name. Another piece of identity stolen, another lie exposed. She's been calling me, Paris continued, begging for money, threatening to expose old family secrets. She doesn't realise she's the secret that needs exposing. My phone lit up with a text from Cole. Mum's crying because of you. Hope you're happy, you selfish bitch. I showed Paris the message. They still think they're the victims. Abusers usually do. She gathered the documents. These are copies for you. The originals are safe with my lawyer. Whatever you decide to do next, you have proof. What would you do? I'd burn their whole world down. She squeezed my hand. But legally, always legally. Back at Tiffany's cousin's condo, I spread the documents across my new kitchen counter. The truth laid bare in black and white. Every theft, every lie, every manipulation. My phone buzzed again. Mum, standing on my old front porch, mascara streaked. You don't understand, Melanie. We needed you. We still do. I watched her through the security camera I'd installed. She looked small, desperate, human. But so had I, at 14, when she stole my future. At 19, when she forced me to drop out of college. At 28, when she cancelled my flight to freedom. I picked up my father's letter, reading it one more time. Then I opened my laptop and typed, Dear Mr. Harrison, I'd like to press charges for financial fraud. Sometimes the truth isn't just about justice. Sometimes it's about reclaiming what was always meant to be yours. I will never bleed myself dry so you can keep pretending we're a family. The words left my mouth like ice as Mum swayed on the front porch, wineglass in hand. You don't mean that, she slurred. We're blood. Blood that you stole from. How much was in that trust fund again? $500,000? She flinched. Paris told you. She showed me everything, the forged documents, Dad's letter, my real birth certificate. I did what I had to do. She stepped forward, wine sloshing. You were just a child. You didn't know what money meant. But you did, right? That's why you spent it all on yourself. A car door slammed. Cole emerged from an Uber, looking dishevelled. Mom, why are you outside? Your sister, she spat, is destroying this family. No. I held up my phone, showing them both the legal documents Paris had sent. You did that when you stole my inheritance. Cole's face twisted. You're lying. Am I? Ask Mom where your BMW payments really came from all these years. Ask her where she got the money for her weekly spa treatments. Shut up, Mum threw her wineglass. It shattered against the wall beside me. I pressed record on my phone. That's assault, Mom. Want to try for more charges besides fraud? Charges? Cole's voice cracked. What charges? The ones Paris's lawyer filed this morning. I stepped back as Mom lunged forward. Fraud, identity theft, embezzlement from a miner's trust. You wouldn't dare. Watch me. I turned to leave. You have 25 days left before eviction. I suggest you start looking for jobs instead of throwing wine glasses. Jobs? Cole laughed hysterically. We don't do jobs. We're better than that. Not anymore. Back at my new condo, I found Imran waiting with takeout. Thought you might need dinner after the showdown. How did you know? Tiffany texted me. She's worried about you. We sat at my kitchen counter, sharing noodles while I showed him the trust fund documents. This is serious fraud, he said, examining the papers. They could face jail time. Mum definitely will. Cole might escape it since he was a kid when it happened. I pushed my food around. Is it wrong that I don't feel bad? After what they did? Imran touched my hand. You're allowed to want justice. My phone buzzed with notifications. Cole had gone on a social media rampage, posting about his psycho sister destroying the family. "Look at these comments," I said, showing Imran. "Our mutual friends are all unfollowing him. They're asking what he means about fraud charges. Truth has a way of exposing itself." A voice message from Mum popped up. "You owe us. You'll regret this. Family protects family." I forwarded it straight to Paris's lawyer. "The London position," Imran said suddenly. "It's yours if you want it. Better salary than before, and—" He hesitated. "I might be transferring there too." My heart skipped. "Might be, if you say yes." Before I could respond, my phone lit up with an alert from my security cameras. Cole was at my old house, loading boxes into another Uber. "They're actually packing," I whispered. "Reality's finally hitting home." I watched through the camera as Mum appeared, clutching photo albums. "Look," I said, "the family station wagon's gone. They must have sold it." "Are you okay?" I searched for the word. "Free." A notification popped up. Someone had left something on my old front porch. I switched cameras. "Is that—" Imran squinted at the screen. "My childhood memory box. The one Mum had always kept safe in her closet. She's leaving it behind." "Want to go get it?" I thought about the photos, the letters, the pieces of my past locked inside that box. "No, let her keep it. I'm done living in memories." Imran smiled. "London's looking better every minute, isn't it?" "You know what?" I closed the security app, turning away from my old life. "It really is." My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Mum. "You'll regret choosing money over family." I typed back, "You did that first. The difference is, I'm choosing myself." Then I blocked her final number and looked at Imran. "Tell me more about London." Because sometimes the best revenge isn't looking back at all. Eviction day dawned cold and clear. I sat in Tiffany's car across the street, watching the locksmith change the locks while Mum screamed at the landlord. "You can't do this!" Her voice carried across the lawn. "We've lived here for years." "And haven't paid rent in 2 months, the landlord replied calmly. "The eviction notice was legal. Your time is up." Imran's hand found mine in the back seat. "You don't have to watch this." "Yes, I do." The moving company I'd hired and paid for one last act of mercy began carrying out furniture. Cole paced the driveway, filming everything on his phone while ranting about family betrayal. "He's live-streaming it," Tiffany said, checking her phone. "The comments are not on his side." A familiar car pulled up. Aunt Paris, carrying a thick folder. She joined us in our observation post. "The police called," she said. "Your mother's being charged with fraud next week. They have all the evidence they need." "Look." Imran pointed at the house. Mum was trying to stop the movers from taking her designer couch. "Should we intervene?" "No." I squeezed his hand. "Let her learn what it feels like to lose things." Cole's voice suddenly rose above the chaos. "This is all your fault." He was pointing at me through the car window. "You did this to us." "No," I said, stepping out of the car despite Imran's protest. "You did this to yourselves. We're your family. Family doesn't steal trust funds. Family doesn't force you to drop out of college. Family doesn't clip your wings to keep you in their cage." "I hate you," he charged forward, but Tiffany and Imran moved to flank me. "Careful," Paris called out. "Assault charges won't help your situation." Cole punched the nearest wall instead, howling when his knuckles cracked. The landlord signalled to the police officer on standby, who quickly moved to escort Cole away. "Melanie, please!" Mum stumbled down the front steps. "Where are we supposed to go?" "That sounds like a you problem." I threw her words back at her. "Maybe skip a few spa days." "I'm your mother." "No." I held up the documents Paris had given me. "You're a thief who happened to give birth to your victim, and now you're facing consequences." She crumpled to the ground, mascara running. the perfect picture of maternal devastation. But I'd seen this performance too many times before. "Get up, Noelle," Paris said tiredly. "The theatrics won't work anymore." Mum's eyes hardened. "You did this. You turned her against me. The truth did that." Paris handed me another document. "Speaking of which," I scanned the paper, my eyes widening. "You bought shares in the property?" "Through my company," Paris smiled. "To ensure they can never rent here again. Consider it partial repayment for what she stole from you." Cole was still ranting to his phone camera, but his audience had dwindled to 0. The movers efficiently packed the last boxes into their truck. "Time's up," the landlord announced. "Property needs to be cleared now." "Wait!" Mum ran inside, emerging with my childhood memory box. "Take it. These are your precious memories, right?" She hurled the box at my feet. Photos, letters, and mementos scattered across the lawn. I didn't move to pick them up. "Keep them. I'm making new memories now." "In London," she laughed bitterly. "Running away won't change who you are. You're still my daughter." Actually, I pulled out my father's birth certificate, my real one. I'm James Reeves's daughter, and I'm finally claiming everything that means. The police officer stepped forward. "Mum, you need to leave the property now." I watched them go, Mum sobbing dramatically, Cole filming one last angry tirade. The locksmith finished changing the locks. The movers drove away. Just like that, it was over. Tiffany hugged me tight. "You did it." "We did it," I corrected, looking at my support system. Tiffany, Imran, Paris, people who lifted me up instead of dragging me down. "Ready to go?" Imran asked softly. "Our flight to London's tomorrow." I took one last look at the house where I'd been trapped for so long. Through the window, I could see the empty spaces where furniture had stood, the blank walls where photos had hung. "You know what?" I turned away, linking my arm through his. "I've been ready for years. Because sometimes the happiest ending isn't about what you keep, it's about what you leave behind." My new passport felt different in my hands. "Melanie Reeves," it read, my father's name restored, my identity reclaimed. The London-bound flight would board in an hour. "Last chance to back out," Tiffany teased, sliding into the airport cafe seat across from me. "Not a chance." I showed her the latest email from Paris's lawyer. Mum took the plea deal, 2 years for fraud plus restitution payments. And Cole? Community service. He's living with our second cousin, working at their hardware store. I smiled. Actually working, for once in his life. Imran appeared with coffee for all of us. "Gates opening soon? You ready?" Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with a text from Paris. "Meet me at security. There's one last thing you need to see." We found her waiting by the TSA line, holding a weathered leather briefcase. "This was your father's," she said, handling it like something precious. "Noelle hid it in her storage unit. The police found it during their investigation." My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside lay business documents, old photos, and a sealed envelope with my name on it. "He wrote this the day before the accident," Paris explained. "It was supposed to go with the will." The letter was dated exactly 14 years ago. "My dearest Melanie, if you're reading this, something's happened to me. I need you to know the truth. Your mother isn't who she pretends to be. She married me for my company, tried to force me to sign it over to her. I refused. I'm changing my will tomorrow, putting everything in a trust for you. Only you. Because you have something she never will. Integrity. A soul that can't be bought. The company shares are yours. The London office is yours. Everything I built for you. Don't let her clip your wings, sweetheart. You were born to fly. Love always, Dad." Attached was a photo I'd never seen. Dad holding baby me, standing in front of an office building in London. Marshall and Reed International. Wait, I looked at Imran. Marshall and Reed? That's your father's company? He grinned. Where you're about to be senior consultant in your own family's firm. Paris told me last week, Tiffany admitted. We wanted it to be a surprise. The board knows everything, Paris added. They're ready to acknowledge you as James's heir. The shares your mother stole, they're being restored to you. The final boarding call echoed through the terminal. Time to go, Imran said softly. I hugged Paris tight. Thank you for everything. Just promise me something. She wiped away tears. Make him proud. I already am, Tiffany said, pointing at her phone. She pulled up a news article. Local woman faces fraud, charges after stealing daughter's inheritance. The photo showed Mom being led into court. No designer clothes or perfect makeup to hide behind. Just consequences. Finally catching up. Last call for Flight 237 to London Heathrow, the announcer called. I shouldered my carry-on, tucking Dad's letter safely inside. Ready? Wait. Imran pulled me close. I need to ask something first. Here? Now? Yes. He took my hand. Have dinner with me in London, not as colleagues or friends, but as a date? I finished, heart racing. The first of many, I hope. Tiffany squealed. Paris beamed. Yes, I said, standing on tiptoe to kiss his cheek. Absolutely yes. We went through security together, leaving behind the ghosts of my past. No more manipulation, no more theft, no more chains disguised as family ties. At the gate, I turned to take one final look at American soil. My phone lit up with a message. From Cole, surprisingly. Mum's crying in her cell. Says she's sorry. Says she loves you. Want me to pass on a message? I typed back, tell her I love me too. Finally. Then I turned off my phone, took Imran's hand, and walked toward my future. Because sometimes the happiest endings aren't about forgiveness or reconciliation. Sometimes they're about taking back what was always yours, your name, your legacy, your right to fly. Ready for takeoff? Imran asked as we settled into our seats. I looked out the window at the rising sun, thinking of Dad's words. You were born to fly. You know what? I squeezed his hand. I've never been more ready. Some people inherit money, some inherit names. I inherited a fire that no one could extinguish, not even the people who should have fanned my flames. And now, finally, I fly.
The first thing I remember after the crash was the taste of blood and glass. Not the pain, that came later. The airbag powder made everything look like a dream, but the metallic tang in my mouth was real enough to anchor me to consciousness while my car finished its graceful flip into the ditch. My name is Edith, and that day 2 years ago changed everything. The drunk driver who T-boned me walked away with a scratch. I got a spinal injury, a partially paralyzed left leg, and enough titanium in my body to set off every airport security scanner from here to Tokyo. You're lucky to be alive, the doctors kept saying. Lucky. Right. Try telling that to someone learning to walk again at 26. But I fought. God, did I fight. Through surgeries, through physical therapy, through nights when the pain was so bad, I thought about ending it all. My therapist, Ciara, became my best friend during those endless sessions. She never let me quit. Come on, girl, she'd say, supporting my weight as I struggled with the parallel bars. Show that leg who's boss. After 18 months of pure hell, I could walk with a cane. Not gracefully, but I could walk. I went back to work part-time as an accountant, moved into a ground-floor apartment, started piecing my life back together. Then the settlement came through, $150,000. Not a fortune, but enough to secure my future, cover ongoing therapy, maybe even start my own small business someday. You earned every penny of that money, Chiara told me over coffee last week. What are you going to do with it? I smiled, stirring my latte. Be smart. Invest most of it. Maybe treat myself to a really good wheelchair for bad days. That was last Tuesday. Today is Monday, and I'm staring at my bank statement like it's written in alien hieroglyphics. The balance reads $3,121.89. There must be some mistake, I tell the bank manager, Sharon. My hands are shaking so hard I can barely hold my cane. I never authorize these withdrawals. Sharon clicks through screens, her face growing increasingly concerned. These transactions were authorized using your power of attorney. Multiple withdrawals over the past 18 months, ranging from $5,000 to $25,000. The room starts spinning. Power of attorney? I never gave anyone power of attorney. According to our records, your parents have had POA since... She squints at the screen. March 15th last year. March 15th. I was in surgery that day, having another vertebra fused, heavily sedated, completely vulnerable. I leave the bank in a daze, barely feeling the sidewalk under my cane. My phone buzzes, a text from my brother Jackson. Hey sis, great news. My new tech venture is taking off. Investors are already showing interest. The pieces click together like a nightmare jigsaw puzzle. Jackson's endless string of failed startups. My parents' constant enabling of his entrepreneurial spirit. The way they dodged my questions about helping with medical bills lately. I drive straight to their house, my hands white-knuckled on the steering wheel. Mom answers the door in her perfect pencil skirt and pearls, looking surprised to see me. Edith, we weren't expecting you today. The money's gone. My voice sounds strange, distant. My settlement. You took it. Dad appears behind her, his face doing that thing where he tries to look concerned, but can't quite manage it. Now, sweetheart, let's discuss this calmly. Calmly? I laugh, and it comes out sounding like broken glass. You stole from me while I was in surgery. Mom's face hardens into that familiar mask of righteous authority. It was never just yours, Edith. You're not the only one who needed help. Help? I grip my cane so hard I think it might snap. Jackson needed help while I was learning to walk again? Your brother has real potential, Mom says, her voice ice cold. Sometimes family means making sacrifices for the greater good. I look at them, really look at them. My mother, perfectly coiffed and utterly unmoved. My father already retreating into his study like he always does when things get uncomfortable. These people who raised me, who I trusted, who watched me fight my way back from the brink. And I realize this isn't the first time they've betrayed me. It's just the first time I've been strong enough to see it. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop, methodically downloading every bank statement, every transaction record I could find. My hands shook with each new discovery. Wire transfers, cashier's checks, all flowing straight into Jackson's latest ventures. At 3 a.m., Ciara showed up with coffee and her trademark no-nonsense attitude. Tell me everything, she said, pulling up a chair. I pushed my laptop toward her. Look at this, March 15th, the day they got power of attorney. I was in surgery for 8 hours. Ciara scrolled through the documents, her expression darkening. This is fraud, Edith, plain and simple. They'll say I agreed to it, I said, that it was for the family. Bullshit. Ciara pulled out her phone. My cousin works with this lawyer, Apollo. He specializes in financial fraud. Let me call him. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Jackson. Hey, sis! His voice was bright, carefree. Mom said you stopped by. Everything okay? You know it's not. My voice came out steady, surprising me. The settlement money, Jackson. My settlement money. Oh, that, he chuckled. Look, it's all going to pay off. My new app is revolutionary, connecting pet owners with premium dog walkers through blockchain technology. Once it launches, I needed that money for medical care. Come on, Edith. You're walking now, right? Meanwhile, I'm on the verge of something huge. Mom and Dad understand that sometimes you have to take risks. I hung up. Ciara was watching me, concern etched on her face. "I'm getting those documents," I said. "The power of attorney papers. I need to see exactly what they did." The next morning, I walked into my parents' house using the key I still had. They were at church, always at church on Tuesday mornings, keeping up appearances. In Dad's study, I found what I was looking for, a file labeled Edith, Medical. Inside was everything, the power of attorney documents, bank transfer authorizations, even a letter from their lawyer explaining how to make it all look legitimate. My hands were steady as I took photos of everything. Then I noticed something odd, a date on one of the witness signatures, March 20th. But the document was supposedly signed and notarized on March 15th. "What are you doing?" I turned to find Mom in the doorway, still in her church clothes. Her face was a mask of controlled fury. "Getting evidence," I said, holding up my phone. "Evidence?" She stepped forward. "Evidence of what? A family taking care of its own? Is that what you call stealing from your disabled daughter?" "Don't be dramatic, Edith. Jackson needed capital for his business. The money wasn't doing anyone any good just sitting in your account. It was paying for my physical therapy. You're walking, aren't you?" She gestured at my cane. "Meanwhile, your brother has real potential. He just needs support." "Support?" I laughed. "He needs consequences. For once in his life, he needs to face consequences." Dad appeared behind Mom, his face red. "You ungrateful little—" He stopped himself, but I saw it in his eyes, the same look he'd given me when I got my promotion last year while Jackson was between ventures. "I'm going to fight this," I said, gripping my cane tighter. "I'm going to get my money back." "We're your family," Mom said, her voice hard. "You'd really hurt your own family?" "Funny. That's exactly what I've been asking myself about you." I pushed past them, my cane thumping against the hardwood floors they'd refinished with my money. Outside, Ciara was waiting in her car. "Got what you needed?" I nodded, buckling my seatbelt. They backdated the documents, made mistakes, got sloppy. "Apollo can meet us this afternoon," she said, pulling away from the curb. In my side mirror, I could see Mom and Dad standing in the doorway, watching us leave. "They really thought I'd just accept this," I said. "Roll over and take it, like always." Ciara glanced at me. "But you're not going to." "No." I clutched the phone with its damning photos. "They forgot something important." "What's that?" "They taught me that family comes first, but they never specified which family member." As we drove to meet Apollo, I felt something shift inside me. The last traces of the dutiful daughter were falling away, replaced by something harder, something forged in betrayal and strengthened by rage. They wanted to talk about family? Fine. I'd show them exactly what family loyalty looks like when it cuts both ways. Aunt Josephine's house smelled like cinnamon and old books, exactly as I remembered from childhood visits that abruptly stopped when I was 12. Mom had called her sister difficult and unstable. Now I wondered what that really meant. "I've been waiting for this visit," Josephine said, pouring tea into delicate cups. "Ever since I heard about your accident. Your mother wouldn't let me visit you in the hospital. She said you were traveling." Josephine's laugh was sharp. "Of course she did, just like she said I was too busy to attend Grandma's funeral." She set down the teapot. "But that's not why you're here, is it?" I placed my cane against the coffee table. "They took my settlement money, all of it." "For Jackson?" When I nodded, she closed her eyes. "History repeats itself." "What do you mean?" She disappeared into another room, returning with a wooden box. "Your brother's first business venture wasn't in college. It was Grandma's house." My hands froze around the teacup. "What?" "After Grandpa died, your grandmother had this beautiful Victorian house, paid off, perfect condition. Jackson convinced her to take out a second mortgage to invest in his sure-thing startup, some kind of social media platform for pets." "He was 19 then," I said, "still in college." 20. Your mother helped him forge the paperwork. When the business failed, your grandmother lost everything. Had to sell the house for pennies on the dollar to cover the debt. Josephine's hands shook as she opened the box. She died 6 months later. Broken heart, if you ask me. Letters spilled out, dozens of them. Josephine selected one and handed it to me. The paper was thin, the handwriting spidery but clear. My dearest Josephine, I read aloud. I fear I've made a terrible mistake. Jackson promises the business will turn around, but the bank is threatening foreclosure. Livia says I need to have faith in family, but I can't shake this feeling. He's just like his father, all charm and schemes that go nowhere. I should have listened to you. Keep reading, Josephine said quietly. The worst part is what this will do to little Edith. I've been saving that house for her, the only one in the family who reminds me of your father. Such a bright, determined girl. But now, my voice cracked, now it will all be gone, just like everything else Gil touches. I looked up. Gil? Dad? Josephine nodded. Before he married your mother, your father was quite the con artist. Small-time stuff, but enough to build a reputation. Your mother knew, she just didn't care. She was too dazzled by his promises of future wealth. But Dad's an accountant. Now he is. After his third bankruptcy, it was either go straight or go to jail. But old habits. She gestured at the letters. Well, you've seen for yourself. My phone buzzed. A text from Jackson. Hey sis, can we talk? Mom's really upset. Let's work this out as a family. They always use that word, I said. Family, like it's a shield. It's a weapon, Josephine corrected. They use it to control you, to justify everything. Your mother learned that from our mother, who learned it from hers. But you know what's interesting about family trees? What? Sometimes the healthiest thing to do is prune them. She handed me another letter, this one newer. I wrote this to your mother after your accident. She sent it back unopened. Inside was a check for $50,000. For Edith's care, the note read, because some family actually means it. I couldn't get it to you directly, Josephine said. They had control of everything while you were recovering, but I kept it, just in case. My throat tightened. Aunt Josephine, take it. Use it to fight them. And take these too. She pushed the box of letters toward me. There's evidence in here. Patterns, dates, names. Your grandmother documented everything. As I stood to leave, leaning on my cane, Josephine caught my arm. One more thing. Your father's old business partner, Marcus? He still lives in town, owns that hardware store on Oak Street. He knows things about Gil that never made it into official records. I hugged her, breathing in that familiar cinnamon scent. Why didn't you ever tell me all this before? Would you have believed me? Sometimes people have to discover the truth on their own. She pulled back, her eyes fierce. Make them pay, Edith, not just for you, but for everyone they've hurt along the way. Driving home, the box of letters beside me, I thought about family trees, about roots and rot, and how sometimes the strongest branches are the ones that grow in new directions. My phone buzzed again, Mom this time. Family meeting tonight, non-negotiable. I smiled. They had no idea what kind of storm was coming. Apollo's office wasn't what I expected. No mahogany desk or leather chairs, just a clean modern space with floor-to-ceiling windows. He looked younger than I imagined, but his eyes were sharp as he reviewed the documents spread across his desk. This is... He paused, adjusting his glasses. Well, frankly, this is amateur hour fraud. They weren't even trying to hide it. They didn't think they had to, I said. They thought I wouldn't fight back. Their mistake. He tapped the power of attorney documents. These dates alone are enough to start criminal proceedings, but there's more, isn't there? I nodded toward Chiara, who pulled Grandma's letters from her bag. My aunt provided these. They show a pattern. Apollo read through them quickly, his expression darkening. This is good, very good, but we need more. He picked up his phone. Let me call someone. 20 minutes later, a woman walked in, tall, athletic, with close-cropped gray hair and reading glasses on a chain. "I'm Penny," she said, shaking my hand. "Apollo tells me you need a financial investigator. Can you trace where my money went?" Penny smiled. "Honey, I can trace a dollar bill through a hurricane. Give me 48 hours. She wasn't exaggerating. 2 days later, we sat in Apollo's office reviewing her findings. The web of transactions she'd uncovered made my head spin. "Your brother's been busy," Penny said, pointing to a diagram. "Shell companies, fake invoices, circular transfers. Classic money laundering, but sloppy. He kept using variations of the same company names: Innovation Ventures, Future Tech Solutions, Next Wave Dynamics. And this one," Apollo added, circling an entry, "registered 3 days after they got power of attorney. Kelly Family Consulting." "That's not Jackson's style," I said. "That's—" "Your father," Penny finished. "He set up a separate company to siphon off funds. Look at this." She pulled up a document. "A consulting contract for $30,000, signed by your father as both parties. He used your power of attorney to approve payment to himself." My hands clenched around my cane. "Can we prove all this?" "Oh, sweetheart." Penny patted my arm. "We already have." Apollo leaned forward. "Here's what happens next. We file criminal complaints against your father for fraud and your brother for money laundering. Your mother's trickier. She was careful to keep her name off most documents. But we can get her on conspiracy charges." "They'll lose everything," I said quietly. "They already made that choice," Kiara reminded me, "when they stole from you." My phone lit up with a text from Dad. "Your mother's crying. Is this what you want? To tear apart your family?" Before I could respond, another message appeared, from Jackson. "Got investors interested in my new crypto project. Could double your money in 6 months. Let's talk?" "They're getting desperate," Apollo observed. "They must suspect something's coming. Have you told anyone about our meetings?" I shook my head. "But I did visit Marcus at his hardware store yesterday. Dad's old partner? He was very informative. And Dad's been running numbers through his accounting firm. Small stuff, but illegal. Marcus kept records. He didn't trust Dad after getting burned in their partnership 20 years ago." Penny whistled. "The IRS would love to hear about that." "I'll contact Detective Hayes," Apollo said. "He handles financial crimes. With what we have now, plus Marcus's evidence." He smiled. "Your family's house of cards is about to collapse." My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. "Family dinner tomorrow night. Non-negotiable. We need to discuss your attitude." "Perfect timing," Apollo said. "Wear a wire?" I looked at the text, remembering all the family dinners where I'd sat quietly, being reasonable, watching Jackson charm our parents out of more money while I paid my own way through college. "Yes," I said. "I'll wear a wire." As we finished the meeting, Penny handed me one last document. "Found this buried in the records. A second mortgage on your condo taken out 3 months ago. Your father forged your signature." I stared at the paper, seeing the familiar loops of Dad's handwriting pretending to be mine. $30,000 transferred directly to Jackson's latest venture. "They're still doing it," I said. "They're still stealing from me." "Not for much longer," Apollo promised. "Detective Hayes will be here tomorrow morning. Once we file the complaints, they won't know what hit them," Penny finished. Walking out with Kiara, I felt lighter despite the weight of what was coming. My phone buzzed one more time, a group text from Mom. "Dinner tomorrow, 7 p.m. sharp. Time to put this foolishness to rest." "You ready for this?" Ciara asked. I gripped my cane tighter, thinking of Grandma's letters, of Marcus's evidence, of all the years of manipulation and theft. "They want a family dinner?" I smiled. Let's give them one they'll never forget. The wire felt cold against my skin as Detective Hayes taped it in place. "Remember," he said, "we just need them talking naturally about the money. Don't push too hard." I smoothed my sweater, checking that the wire was invisible. "Trust me, they'll talk. They love explaining why they're right. Mom's pot roast filled the house with familiar smells as I walked in. Everything looked normal. Family photos on the walls, Dad's golf trophies, Jackson's framed college diploma, all the props in their perfect family theater. "Edith!" Mom's smile was bright, brittle. "So glad you decided to be reasonable. Wouldn't miss it." I handed her the wine I'd brought, her favorite red. "Where's Jackson?" "Running late, as usual." She laughed like it was charming. "Business meeting." Dad emerged from his study, barely looking at me. "Dinner's ready. Let's eat while it's hot." We were halfway through the salad course when Jackson breezed in, all designer clothes and practiced charm. Sorry, investors, you know how it is." He kissed Mom's cheek. "Smells amazing." "How are the investors?" Dad asked eagerly. "Any bites?" "Actually, yes," Jackson grinned, helping himself to pot roast. "Had a great meeting today. They love the concept. Social media meets cryptocurrency meets artificial intelligence. We're talking serious money." "That's wonderful, honey," Mom beamed. "See, Edith? Your brother's making things happen. That money didn't go to waste." I took a slow sip of wine. "My money." "Our money," Mom corrected. "Family money, which reminds me, we need to discuss your recent behavior." "My behavior?" "These accusations, these threats. It's not healthy, sweetheart." She reached for my hand. I pulled back. "What's not healthy is stealing from your disabled daughter." "Now see here," Dad started, but Jackson cut him off. "Sis, you're looking at this all wrong. I'm building something huge. Once it takes off, everyone wins. The family wins." "Like Grandma won?" The words hung in the air like smoke. Mom's fork clattered against her plate. "Who have you been talking to?" "Aunt Josephine sends her regards." "That woman," Mom spat, "has no right." "To what? Tell me the truth? About Grandma's house? About Dad's past?" Dad's face went red. "That's ancient history." "Is it?" I pulled out my phone, scrolled to a photo. "This mortgage document is from 3 months ago. That's my signature, Dad, except I never signed it." "You ungrateful little—" He caught himself, forced a smile. "Everything we've done has been for this family." "Some of us were born to carry more," Jackson said, smirking, "and some to limp behind." The wire felt hot against my skin now. I wondered if the detective could hear my heart pounding. "So that's it?" I asked. "You take my settlement, forge my signature, steal my future, and I'm supposed to be grateful?" "Don't be dramatic," Mom sighed. "You're working again. You're walking. Meanwhile, Jackson needs capital to realize his potential." "His potential?" I laughed. "How many failed businesses is that now, Jackson? 6? 7? The market is volatile." "The market isn't the problem. You are. And you too." I looked at my parents. "You're worse. You're enablers." "Enough!" Dad slammed his hand on the table. "I won't be lectured by—" "By what, Dad? The daughter who actually succeeded? Who paid her own way? Who didn't need constant bailouts?" "We're done discussing this," Mom said firmly. "You need to forgive and move on." Jackson reached for the wine. "Yeah, sis. Besides, there's more coming soon. Dad fixed it yesterday. Everything's sorted with the bank." My blood ran cold. "What do you mean?" "The investment loan, using your condo as collateral. Don't worry, it's all handled." Mom shot him a warning look, but it was too late. I stood up, my cane knocking against the table. "You're still doing it. You're still stealing from me." "Sit down," Dad ordered. "We're not finished." "Oh, we are." I moved toward the door. "We're more finished than you know." "Edith," Mom's voice cracked like a whip, "if you walk out that door, don't bother coming back." I turned, looking at them one last time. Mom with her perfect makeup, Dad with his practiced scowl, Jackson with his empty smile, my family, my jailers. "Don't worry," I said. "I won't." Outside, Kiara was waiting in her car. "Got what you needed?" I touched the wire under my sweater, thinking of Jackson's admission about the new loan, Dad's fury, Mom's threats. "Oh, yes," I said. "I got everything." Detective Hayes spread the contents of my dossier across his desk like he was dealing cards, bank statements, forged documents, Grandma's letters, Marcus's evidence, the wire recording from dinner, each piece another nail in my family's coffin. "This is thorough," he said, examining a financial chart Penny had prepared. "Very thorough." Apollo sat beside me, reviewing his own copies. "The wire recording is particularly damning. Jackson practically confessed to ongoing fraud." "And the new loan?" I asked. Hayes nodded. "We've frozen that transaction. Your father's attempt to take out another mortgage in your name? That's the cherry on top. Multiple counts of fraud, identity theft, conspiracy." My hands trembled slightly on my cane. "What happens now?" "Now?" Hayes leaned back. "Now we move. But there's something else you should know." He pulled out another file. "Your brother's been under investigation for securities fraud. Separate case, different department. He's been selling unregistered securities, making false promises to investors." "Of course he has," I said, feeling oddly calm. "Your evidence could trigger a RICO investigation. That's serious federal charges." Apollo touched my arm. "You can still back out. Keep it civil. Just sue for restitution." I thought of Jackson's smirk across the dinner table, Mom's cold dismissal, Dad's rage when challenged. "No, I want it all on record." Hayes nodded and reached for his phone. 10 minutes later, a woman in a sharp suit entered, Assistant District Attorney Sarah Martinez. "Walk me through it," she said, taking a seat. For the next hour, we laid out the case. The original theft of my settlement, the forged power of attorney, the money laundering through Jackson's shell companies, Dad's fraudulent consulting fees, the attempted new mortgage. "And here," Apollo added, pulling out Marcus's statement, "evidence of long-term tax fraud through the accounting firm." Martinez took notes, her expression growing harder with each detail. "The IRS will be very interested in this. Your father's entire practice could be audited." "What about my mother?" I asked. "Conspiracy charges for starters. The wire recording has her admitting knowledge of the fraud, plus we have her signature on several key documents." My phone buzzed. Jackson again. "Hey sis, can we talk? Got a great opportunity for you. Time sensitive." I showed it to Hayes, who smiled grimly. "Still trying to run his game. Classic." Martinez stood, gathering the files. "I'll have the warrants ready within the hour. How do you want to handle the arrests?" "Arrests?" The word felt strange in my mouth. "Your father and brother, certainly. Your mother will be served, but probably not taken into custody initially." I thought about it. "They'll be at home. Thursday is bridge club. Mom never misses it." "Tomorrow morning, then," Hayes said. "Give them one last night of peace." As we left the station, Chiara was waiting outside. "How'd it go?" "It's done," I said. "Warrants tomorrow." She hugged me tight. "You did the right thing." "Did I?" My voice cracked slightly. "They're still my family." "No," Chiara said firmly. "They're people who happen to share your DNA. They stopped being family when they stole your future." My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. "We're worried about you, sweetheart. Come home. Let's talk this through properly." Then Dad. "Don't do anything rash. Family has to stick together." Finally, Jackson. "Sis, great news. Just need a small bridge loan. Dad says he can arrange everything." I turned off my phone. "What now?" Chiara asked. "Now we wait." I looked up at the darkening sky. "Tomorrow morning, their whole world falls apart. And you?" She squeezed my shoulder. "What about your world?" I gripped my cane, thinking of Aunt Josephine's words about pruning family trees, about Grandma's letters, full of regret and warning, about all the years I'd spent trying to be the good daughter, the understanding sister, the one who never caused trouble. "My world?" I smiled. "My world's just beginning." Apollo called later that night. "Everything's set. Detective Hayes has the warrants. They'll move at 9 a.m. "I want to be there," I said. "Edith." Not to confront them, just to watch. I need to see it. A pause. I'll pick you up at 8:30. We can park across the street. I hung up and went to my window, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, my family was going about their evening, probably planning their next scheme, never imagining that in less than 12 hours, their carefully constructed facade would shatter. Mom would be setting out her clothes for bridge club. Dad would be in his study, working late. Jackson would be smooth-talking some new investor. And I was finally free. The morning was crisp and clear as Apollo parked across from my parents' house. Kiara sat in the back seat with me, holding my hand. 3 police cars waited around the corner, lights off, engines idling. 9 o'clock, Apollo said, checking his watch. Right on cue, Mom stepped out onto the front porch in her bridge club outfit. Cream-colored pantsuit, pearls, perfect hair. She was checking her phone when the first police car rounded the corner. Her head snapped up. The phone slipped from her fingers. "Here we go," Kiara whispered. Detective Hayes led the approach, flanked by 4 officers. Mom's face went ghost white as they climbed the porch steps. "Mrs. Kelly?" Hayes held up his badge. "We have some warrants to execute." "This is ridiculous," Mom said, but her voice trembled. "Gilbert! Jackson!" Dad appeared in the doorway, still in his robe. "What's the meaning of—" He stopped cold when he saw the officers. "Sir, please step outside." "Now wait just a minute." "Dad?" Jackson's voice carried from inside. "What's going on?" Hayes nodded to 2 officers, who entered the house. Moments later, they emerged with Jackson, who was trying to button his designer shirt while protesting loudly. "This is a mistake. Do you know who I am? My lawyers will—" "Your lawyers will be very busy," Hayes said, pulling out a document. "Gilbert Kelly, you're under arrest for fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. Jackson Kelly, you're under arrest for securities fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud." "This is absurd!" Mom's voice rose to a shriek. "We're respected members of this community." Neighbors were emerging from their houses now, watching the scene unfold. Mrs. Peterson from next door stood on her lawn in her bathrobe, hand over her mouth. Mr. Turner across the street was filming with his phone. "You can't do this," Dad protested as an officer began reading him his rights. "This is a family matter." "A family matter?" Hayes raised an eyebrow. "Stealing from your disabled daughter is a family matter?" Jackson's head whipped around. "Edith? Edith did this?" That's when he saw our car. Even from across the street, I could see the moment recognition hit him. His face contorted with rage. "You bitch!" he screamed. "After everything we did for you." "Sir, you have the right to remain silent," the officer said, tightening his handcuffs. "I strongly suggest you use it." Mom started toward our car, but Hayes blocked her path. "Ma'am, I have some documents for you as well. You're being charged with conspiracy to commit fraud." "My own daughter," she said, staring at me through the windshield. "My own flesh and blood." "Funny," I whispered, though she couldn't hear me. I was just thinking the same thing. They led Dad and Jackson to separate cars. Dad went quietly, head down, but Jackson kept shouting about his lawyers, his investors, his rights. Mom stood on the porch, clutching her court summons, watching her perfect world crumble. Mrs. Peterson approached her. "Livia, what's happening?" Mom turned, mask firmly in place. "Just a misunderstanding, Margaret. Nothing to worry about." But Mrs. Peterson was already backing away, horror on her face, as she finally saw through the facade. The police cars pulled away, carrying my father and brother to booking. Mom went inside, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. Her bridge club outfit would go unworn today. "You okay?" Kiara squeezed my hand. "I don't know what I am," I said honestly. "You're free," Apollo said, starting the car. "That's what you are." As we pulled away, I saw movement at my parents' window, Mom watching us leave. For a moment, our eyes met. I expected to see hatred or rage, but instead I saw something worse. Nothing. Just empty space where love should have been. "The DA will need you to testify," Apollo said as we drove, "but the evidence is solid. With the wire recording and Marcus's testimony—" "They'll take plea deals," I said. "They always take the easy way out." "What about the house?" Chiara asked. "Once their assets are frozen—" "Let it go," I said. "Let them keep their shrine to false appearances. I have everything I need." My phone buzzed. Aunt Josephine. "Just saw the news. Your grandmother would be proud." I looked back one last time at the house where I grew up, where I learned that family could be both sword and shield, where I finally learned to fight back. The morning sun caught my cane, making the metal gleam like justice. The key slides into my new apartment's lock with a satisfying click. The place still smells of fresh paint and possibility. Wide doorways, smooth floors, and grab bars in all the right places. Everything designed for someone with mobility issues. "Last box," Ciara announces, setting it down in the kitchen. "Want me to help you unpack?" "Actually," I pull out 2 wine glasses. "I think it's time to celebrate." We settle on my new couch, picked specifically because it's the perfect height for easy transfers on bad leg days. Through the window, I can see the city skyline, a view I never thought I'd afford again. My phone buzzes. Apollo. "Plea deals finalized. Jackson, 5 years. Your father 18 months plus restitution, full confession." "They took the deals," I tell Chiara, showing her the text. "Of course they did." She sips her wine. "Your mother?" 3 years probation, community service, and she has to pay back everything they stole. I laugh softly. "Apparently she's selling her jewelry collection." "Good." Chiara's voice is fierce. "Those pearls were bought with your money anyway." Another text arrives. "Penny. IRS audit complete. Your father's firm is finished. Every client is being investigated." "You know what's funny?" I set my phone down. I always thought revenge would feel, I don't know, colder, like ice, but it doesn't. "What does it feel like?" Before I can answer, there's a knock at the door. Through the peephole, I see Mom standing there, looking smaller somehow, without her usual perfect outfit and makeup. "You don't have to answer," Chiara says. But I'm already opening the door. Mom's eyes dart around the apartment, taking in the accessibility features, the view, the fresh start she tried to steal from me. "Nice place." "What do you want?" She pulls out an envelope. "Your grandmother's letters. I found more, hidden in the attic. Thought you should have them." She pauses. "And this." She hands me a small velvet box. Inside is Grandma's sapphire ring, the one Mom always said was lost. "She wanted you to have it," Mom says. "I just couldn't stand that she chose you, that everyone always chose you." "Chose me? You and Dad threw everything you had at Jackson. I had to fight for every scrap of attention." "No." Her laugh is bitter. "Jackson needed us. You were always stronger, smarter, better. Even after the accident, you just kept going. Do you know how that felt? Watching you succeed while my son failed? So you punished me for it. We thought—" She stops, starts again. "I thought if we could just give Jackson enough support, enough chances, he'd finally—" Her voice cracks. "I was wrong about everything." "Yes," I say. "You were." She turns to leave, then stops. "The restitution payments will start next week. I sold everything I could. It won't make up for, but it's something." After she's gone, Ciara helps me open Grandma's letters. In the last one, dated just before she died, she wrote, "My dearest Edith, remember that family isn't just blood, it's truth. Choose your family wisely and let the truth set you free." I look at Ciara, who's been by my side through everything, at the text from Apollo and Penny, who fought for me, at the card from Aunt Josephine on my counter. "You never answered," Chiara says. "What does revenge feel like?" I touch Grandma's ring, now on my finger. It feels like healing. My phone buzzes one last time. A news alert about Jackson's sentencing. There's a quote from him, still blaming everyone else. Still my parents' golden child, even in an orange jumpsuit. You know what they taught me? I say, turning off my phone. That blood comes first. That family is everything. And? I smile, thinking of all the family I've chosen, all the truth I've embraced, all the strength I never knew I had until they tried to break me. They forgot something important, I say, raising my wine glass. Some blood clots. Kiara clinks her glass against mine. Outside, the sun sets on my new life, one built on truth, justice, and the kind of family that doesn't need lies to survive. I grip my cane, stand up, and walk to the window. Below, the city pulses with life and possibility. Behind me, Grandma's letters whisper their wisdom. Around me, my chosen family keeps me strong. And somewhere across town, in a house built on lies, my mother sits alone with the consequences of her choices. My father faces his first night in prison. My brother learns that charm can't unlock a cell door. But me, I'm finally, truly home.
$20,000. I blinked hard at my phone screen, hoping the number would change. It didn't. Neither did the string of charges from bridal boutiques, florists, and something called Enchanted Events and Design. My hands started shaking as I scrolled through transaction after transaction, each one a fresh punch to the gut. My name is Selena, and I just discovered my little sister had turned my emergency credit card into her personal wedding slush fund. What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. Bella set down her coffee mug, peering at me across my kitchen table. I'd invited her over for our weekly Sunday brunch, but now my eggs Benedict sat untouched, growing cold. Lacey, my voice cracked. She took my card, the one I keep for emergencies. Look at this. I turned my phone toward Bella, whose eyes widened as she scrolled. Holy shit, Selena. When did she even get access to your card? Remember when I had that flu in January? She came over with homemade soup and insisted on staying to take care of me. Must have found it while I was passed out with fever. Call her, right now. Bella's tone was steel. I did. Lacey answered on the third ring, her voice chirpy. Hey sis, I was just thinking about you. Have you picked your bridesmaid dress yet? Lacey, why is there $20,000 of wedding charges on my credit card? A pause. Then, with the casual air of someone discussing the weather. Oh yeah, I meant to mention that. I just needed a little help with deposits and stuff. Don't worry. I'll totally pay you back once Danny and I get our wedding gifts. The room started spinning. You'll pay me back? Lacey, this is credit card fraud. Oh my God, don't be so dramatic. She laughed. We're sisters. Family helps family. I'm calling Mom and Dad. Already did. Her voice turned smug. They completely understand. Mom said you're being selfish, actually. This is my special day, Selena. Don't ruin it just because you're jealous you're not the one getting married. I ended the call and immediately dialed my parents. Mom answered, her voice clipped with disapproval before I could even speak. Selena, your sister just called in tears. I can't believe you're making such a fuss over this. Mom, she stole my credit card. This is literally a crime. Don't you dare use that word. This is your sister's wedding, the happiest day of her life. Your father and I raised you better than this. Family supports family. By committing fraud? Stop being melodramatic, you have a good job. You can afford to help your sister have her dream wedding. Why do you always have to make everything so difficult? I sat there, phone pressed to my ear, listening to my mother lecture me about family loyalty and sacrifice, about how Lacey was under so much stress planning the perfect day, about how I should be ashamed for threatening to cause drama. When she finally ran out of steam, I said quietly, You're right, Mom. I'll handle it. That's my girl. I knew you'd understand. I hung up and met Bella's concerned gaze. Well? They're defending her, like always. I pulled up my banking app and started typing. But they don't know something. What's that? I already filed a fraud claim with the credit card company this morning, and I named Lacey specifically as the perpetrator. My fingers flew across the screen as I submitted the final documentation. I also have screenshots of every transaction, security camera footage from stores where she used the card, and copies of all the receipts she so thoughtfully posted on Instagram. Bella's mouth dropped open. Holy shit, Selena. They think I'm the weak one, the responsible one who'll roll over and take it because family. I set down my phone and finally took a bite of my cold breakfast. They're about to learn how wrong they are. What are you going to do? I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. I'm going to sit back and watch as my dear sister's perfect wedding falls apart piece by piece. And the best part? I won't have to lift a finger. The law will do it for me. You're scary when you're calm like this. I learned from the best. I raised my coffee mug. To Karma wearing a bridesmaid's dress. Bella clinked her mug against mine, but her expression was worried. Just be careful, okay? This is going to get ugly. It already is ugly. I pulled up my credit card statement again, each fraudulent charge fuel for the cold fire building in my chest. They just don't know it yet. Ms. Mann? The detective's voice was steady on the phone. I'm Detective Gross with the Financial Crimes Unit. We've received your fraud report and supporting documentation. I closed my office door, grateful for the privacy. Yes, thank you for calling. I have more evidence if you need it. Actually, what you've provided is quite thorough. There was a note of impressed surprise in his voice. The time-stamped security footage from the bridal boutique is particularly helpful. Did you request that yourself? Yes. I also have screenshots of my sister's social media posts showing her using my card at various venues. She was not discreet. I can see that. Papers shuffled on his end. The post where she's holding up your credit card and captioning it, "Best sister ever," is particularly interesting, given that you've stated you never gave her permission to use it. She tagged me in that post too, I said dryly. Apparently she thought I wouldn't notice $20,000 in charges because she was being so public about it. My computer pinged with a new message in the family group chat. I opened it while Detective Gross continued talking. Lacey. OMG, everyone. Just booked the most amazing champagne fountain for the reception. It's going to be so Instagram-worthy. Mom. That's wonderful, sweetie. Your wedding will be perfect. Dad. Whatever makes you happy, princess. I took screenshots, adding them to my growing folder of evidence. Ms. Mann? Detective Gross pulled my attention back. Are you certain you want to pursue criminal charges? This being family, sometimes people prefer to handle things privately. Detective, my sister didn't just steal my card. She's actively lying to her fiancé about where the money's coming from. She told him I gifted her $20,000 as a wedding present. That complicates things. It gets better. Want to know what she texted our cousin about me last week? I pulled up the screenshot. Selena's such a pushover. She works so hard to be the responsible one. It's honestly pathetic, but at least her credit score is good enough to fund my dream wedding. More paper shuffling. You've documented everything. Down to the minute she took the card from my apartment. I have security footage from my building showing her entering at 2:17 p.m. on January 12th and leaving at 3:45 p.m. The first fraudulent charge was made at 4:22 p.m. that same day. Ms. Mann, he paused. This level of documentation is unusual for these cases. I knew nobody would believe me without proof. My family never does. Later that evening, Bella came over with wine and takeout. I showed her the expanding evidence folder on my laptop while we ate. Girl, this is next level, she said, scrolling through. You even have the receipt from when she bought her wedding dress? And the alteration receipts, and photos of her wearing it while it was being fitted. All paid with my card, all meticulously documented on her Instagram with helpful timestamps. What did the detective say? That they're building a case. Apparently, having the perpetrator document their own crime on social media makes their job easier. I took a long sip of wine. The best part? Lacey keeps adding to the evidence every day. Look at this. I pulled up a new post from an hour ago. Lacey posing with expensive flower arrangements, captioned, "Final wedding flowers picked. Thank you, Asalinum, for making all my dreams come true. Best sister ever." She's really out here tagging you in her crime spree. Bella shook her head. Has she always been this bold? Remember when she crashed Dad's car in high school? Told the police I was driving, even though I was away at college? Mom and Dad believed her until the security cameras at my dorm proved I was 300 miles away. And they still take her side? Every time. I closed my laptop. But this time is different. This time I have receipts. Literal and metaphorical. My phone buzzed. Detective Gross. Ms. Mann, we've reviewed everything. The bank is formally pressing charges. Would you like to make a statement? It's happening. I showed Bella the message. They're moving forward with charges. Are you ready for this? Once it starts? I know. I typed my response. Yes, I'll make a statement. And detective? I have even more evidence to share. Bella touched my arm. Selena, this isn't just revenge. You know that, right? No, I agreed, thinking of all the years of manipulation, lies, and gaslighting, of being told I was overreacting, being difficult, not supporting family. This isn't revenge. This is justice with receipts. I hit send on my response to Detective Gross, then raised my wine glass. To paper trails and karma. To finally standing up for yourself, Bella clinked her glass against mine. May your sister look good in orange. The engagement party sparkled with fairy lights and champagne bubbles. I adjusted my hidden recording device, a small microphone clipped inside my clutch, and plastered on my best supportive sister smile. Selena! Lacey squealed, rushing over in a designer dress I recognized from my credit card statement. You came, and you look nice. Her eyes flicked dismissively over my simple black cocktail dress, the one I'd actually paid for myself. Wouldn't miss it. I hugged her, noting how she immediately pulled away to greet more glamorous guests. The champagne tower she'd ordered caught the light, each crystal glass a reminder of the charges still sitting on my card. Hey, Selena. Danny, Lacey's fiancé, appeared beside me. Sweet, innocent Danny, who had no idea his dream wedding was being built on fraud. Can I talk to you for a minute? We stepped onto the venue's terrace. My recording device caught every word. I just wanted to say thank you, he said, genuine emotion in his voice. Lacey told me about your amazing gift. $20,000. I couldn't believe it. My family's not well off, and knowing her sister stepped up like that. He wiped his eyes. It means everything. My stomach churned. What exactly did Lacey tell you about the money? That you'd been saving it for her wedding day. That you wanted her to have her dream celebration because she's your only sister. He smiled. You're really something special, Selena. Before I could respond, my mother clinked her glass for attention. Everyone gathered around as she raised her champagne flute. To my beautiful daughter, Lacey, Mom beamed, her voice carrying clearly to my recorder. The heart of our family. When she told me about all these wonderful wedding plans, the venue, the flowers, the champagne tower, I knew she'd create something magical. And special thanks to Selena, she gestured toward me, for her contribution. The crowd awed. I took a large sip of champagne to hide my expression. Everything is just perfect, Mom continued. The flowers from Garden Grove, the catering from Le Petit, the stunning decorations from Enchanted Events. She listed every vendor, every purchase, like she was reading directly from my credit card statement. My phone buzzed. An email from the bank. Fraud case number 2847 has been escalated to local law enforcement following confirmation of unauthorized charges. Selena? Danny touched my arm. You okay? You look pale. Just emotional, I lied. Big sister stuff, you know? Across the room, Lacey was showing off her engagement ring to her bridesmaids. And wait until you see my dress. It's Vera Wang, absolutely gorgeous. I still can't believe I got so lucky with everything working out financially. One bridesmaid, Sasha, frowned slightly. I thought you said your parents were paying for everything? Oh, well, you know, Lacey laughed nervously. Family all chips in. Speaking of, look at this amazing champagne tower. Instagram worthy, right? I snapped a photo of the tower, then of Lacey's group. Evidence of the party's expensive touches, all funded by my stolen card. My phone buzzed again. Detective Gross requesting a meeting tomorrow. Time for gifts, Mom announced. Guests gathered around a table piled with presents. I'd brought one too, a simple card containing a copy of my credit card statement. I placed it carefully among the wrapped packages. Speech, someone called out. Lacey grabbed the microphone, giggling. I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight. This wedding is going to be absolutely incredible. No expense spared. She winked at me. When you have amazing family supporting you, anything is possible. I promise it'll be a day no one will ever forget. No one will ever forget it, all right? I muttered under my breath. The party continued into the night. I stayed until the end, recording everything. Every mention of purchases, every vendor name dropped, every time Lacey bragged about her perfect wedding plans. As guests began leaving, I overheard Lacey on the phone with the wedding planner. Yes, we can absolutely add the ice sculpture. Just charge it to the same card as before. My phone lit up with a fraud alert moments later. Having fun? Bella texted. Got everything I needed, I replied. Meeting with Detective Gross tomorrow. The bank officially confirmed it as fraud. How are you holding up? I watched Lacey pose for photos with the champagne tower, tagging me in yet another social media post about her generous sister. I'm fine, I typed back, just watching my sister dig her own grave one credit card charge at a time. As I left the party, Danny caught me in a final hug. Thanks again, Selena. You're making Lacey's dreams come true. I hugged him back, thinking of the fraud investigation gaining momentum. Trust me, Danny, the wedding day will be unforgettable. Remember when Lacey totaled your car? Bella asked, helping me sort through old family photos. Senior year of college? You mean when she borrowed it without permission and crashed into a tree? I pulled out a picture from that day, my destroyed Honda Civic, Lacey crying dramatically while Mom consoled her. Dad made me file the insurance claim since it was in my name. Raised my rates for years. And they bought her a new car 2 months later. Because she learned her lesson and needed reliable transportation. I mimicked Mom's voice. Meanwhile, I took the bus for a year. Detective Gross sat across from us at my kitchen table taking notes. And this pattern of behavior has been consistent? Let me show you something. I pulled out more photos. Here's Lacey's high school graduation. Notice anything? He studied the image. Expensive dress? Prom dress, actually. She spent $3,000 of Mom and Dad's money on it. When I asked to borrow $500 from my college textbooks that same month, they said they were too stretched thin. Any other financial incidents? I laid out document after document. Credit card statements showing bills they'd paid off for her. Bank transfers covering her rent when she forgot to pay. Letters from colleges about dropped classes they'd paid for. She's never faced consequences, I explained. Not once. My phone buzzed. A family group text from Mom. Dinner tonight at our house. Important wedding details to discuss. Selena, please be there. Perfect timing, Detective Gross said. Wear your recording device. Try to get her talking about the credit card. That evening, I sat at my parents' familiar dining room table, phone recording in my pocket. Mom served her signature lasagna while Lacey dominated the conversation. So the videographer needs another $2,000 as a deposit, she announced. Selena, can you take care of that tomorrow? Same card as before? Actually, I kept my voice casual. How did you get that card number? I don't remember giving it to you. Oh my God, are you still on about that? Lacey rolled her eyes. I told you. I found it that day I brought you soup. You were basically delirious with fever, but you said I could use it. Did I? I don't remember that conversation. Selena, Mom cut in sharply. Stop interrogating your sister. This is about her special day. I'm just curious about the timeline, because my first credit card alert was actually before you brought me soup. Lacey's fork clattered against her plate. Why are you being like this? Like what? I just want to understand when and how you got my card. Girls, Dad finally spoke up. Let's not ruin dinner. You know what? Lacey pushed back from the table. I don't need this negativity. I'm under enough stress planning the wedding of my dreams. Dreams usually don't involve theft, I muttered. What did you say? Mom's voice turned icy. Nothing. I smiled sweetly. Hey, Lacey, remind me, what did you tell Danny about the wedding funding? That you gave it as a gift. Because you love me. Her voice wavered slightly. Interesting. And the vendors? They all have the same story about how they got paid? I don't know what you're implying, Mom interrupted. But I think you should leave if you're going to upset your sister. My phone vibrated. Detective Gross. We have enough. Arrest warrant being processed. You're right, I stood up. I should go. But Lacey, you might want to rethink those additional vendor deposits. Just a suggestion. Is that a threat? Lacey's eyes narrowed. No, just someone finally telling you no. I drove home in silence, letting the weight of what was coming settle over me. Within minutes, my phone exploded with texts. Mom, how dare you ruin dinner? Apologize to your sister. Dad, your mother is very upset. Fix this. Lacey, you're just jealous because no one wants to marry you. I forwarded the messages to Detective Gross, then called Bella. How'd it go? They're still defending her. Even with proof she's lying, they're choosing her side. The warrants being processed? Yeah. I sank onto my couch. 2 weeks until the wedding. Want to bet how many more charges she'll rack up before then? You okay? I thought about Danny's grateful face. About years of watching Lacey take and take while I was expected to give and give. About Mom and Dad's willful blindness. You know what? I am okay. Because in 2 weeks, they're all going to learn what real consequences feel like. My phone lit up with one final text from Detective Gross. Warrant approved. Will execute at your discretion. Are you sure you want to wait until the wedding day? I typed back quickly. Yes. Let her have her perfect wedding morning. The afternoon will be memorable enough. Am I a terrible person? I asked my therapist, Dr. Rivera. Bella had finally convinced me to start sessions, saying I needed support for what was coming. Part of me wants to stop this, to just let her have her day. Why do you think you want to stop it? Because it's going to destroy my family. Because maybe I should be the bigger person. Because... My phone buzzed. Another credit card alert. $3,500 to a luxury car service. Because she's still doing it, I finished quietly. Even with the wedding less than 2 weeks away, she's still charging things to my card. Tell me about the toll this has taken on you, Dr. Rivera prompted. I can't sleep. Every alert makes my heart race. I've had to defer my student loan payments because my credit limit is maxed out. My voice cracked. I trusted her. She's my sister. After therapy, I created an anonymous Reddit account. I needed to tell someone, everyone, what was happening. I detailed everything: the theft, the lies, the years of enabling. Within hours, the post went viral. OMG, I think I know who this is about. A DM popped up from an unfamiliar account. I'm in your sister's bridal party. She's been bragging about how her sister is funding everything. I clicked the profile. It was Sasha, one of Lacey's bridesmaids. The way she talks about you behind your back, Sasha continued. It's awful. Yesterday she told us you're just jealous because you're single and boring. But then she charged another $500 of bridesmaid gifts to your card. My phone rang. Detective Gross. Ms. Mann, we've had an interesting development. Your sister just tried to open a new credit card in your name. The bank flagged it immediately. She what? Apparently, the existing card is reaching its limit. She attempted to create a new one using your social security number. I ended the call and drove straight to my parents' house. Lacey's car was in the driveway. How dare you try to open a credit card in my name? I burst through the door. Lacey jumped up from the couch. How did you... what are you talking about? The bank called me. Identity theft now too, Lacey? Really? I needed it for the honeymoon deposits. You're being so selfish about the wedding expenses, I had to do something. Selfish? I never gave you permission to use my card in the first place. Girls, Mom intervened. Selena, stop this ridiculous drama. Lacey, sweetie, maybe you should have asked first. Asked? Asked? I pulled out my phone. Look at this. $23,000 now. She's still charging things daily. And now identity theft? It's not identity theft, Lacey scoffed. We're sisters. We share everything. Not my credit score, not my financial future, not anymore. What's that supposed to mean? I headed for the door. You'll find out soon enough. Is that a threat? Lacey followed me into the driveway. Because I'll tell Danny everything, how you're trying to ruin my wedding, how you promised to help and now you're being a jealous bitch. Tell him what, Lacey? The truth about where his dream wedding money came from? Go ahead. She grabbed my arm. You wouldn't dare. Let go of me. I pulled out my phone, already recording. And maybe check Reddit. There's an interesting story going viral about a bridezilla who committed credit card fraud. Her face went white. You didn't. Names changed to protect the guilty, of course, but the bridesmaids figured it out pretty quick, especially Sasha. You're lying. Am I? Check your messages. Notice how some of your bridal party is suddenly too busy to help with wedding prep? Lacey's composure cracked. She started screaming, mascara running down her face. You're ruining everything. Mom, make her stop. I got in my car as Mom rushed out. The last thing I heard was Lacey wailing, She's going to ruin my perfect day. Back home, I forwarded the recording of Lacey's meltdown to Detective Gross, then called Bella. I think I just went nuclear, I said shakily. You okay? No. Yes. I don't know. I opened my laptop to find the Reddit post had over 50,000 upvotes. It's all falling apart for her. Good, Bella said firmly. Let it fall. You've carried her weight long enough. My phone lit up with another credit alert. Won $200 at a luxury spa. She's still charging things, I told Bella. Even now, even after everything, she's still doing it. Then she's made her choice, and you've made yours. I looked at my calendar, at the wedding date circled in red. 12 days until her perfect day. 12 days until justice, Bella corrected. I closed my eyes, thinking of Lacey's screaming, Mom's enabling, Dad's silence. I hope it's worth it. It will be, Bella promised. Truth usually is. The Reddit post exploded overnight. Local wedding groups started buzzing with speculation. My anonymous story had taken on a life of its own, with people sharing similar experiences of entitled siblings and enabling parents. Have you seen this? Danny's text came with a screenshot of my post. Everyone's talking about it in the local wedding forums. Some people think it's about someone in town. My hands shook as I typed back, That's crazy. What does Lacey think? She's really upset. Says it's probably some jealous person trying to cause drama before wedding season. Another message popped up. Detective Gross. We need to talk. In person. I met him at a coffee shop downtown, away from my usual haunts. He looked grave. The credit card company has completed their investigation, he said, sliding a folder across the table. The total damages now exceed $25,000. That elevates this to a felony. A felony? My coffee cup froze halfway to my mouth. Your sister made additional charges this morning. Luxury spa packages for the bridal party. She's also attempted to open 3 more credit cards in your name since our last conversation. My phone buzzed. A group text from Mom. Final wedding rehearsal dinner meeting tonight. Everyone must attend, no excuses. Detective, I showed him the message. What's the plan for the arrest? Originally, we planned to serve the warrant at the rehearsal dinner, but given the escalating identity theft attempts... No, I cut in. Please, wait for the wedding. I know it sounds cruel, but she needs to face everyone she's lied to. He studied me for a long moment. It's your call. But you should know. We've been contacted by Danny's family. What? Why? They saw the Reddit post, started asking questions about the wedding finances. They've withdrawn their contribution to the honeymoon fund. My phone lit up again, Danny calling. Hey, I answered, trying to sound normal. Selena, I need to ask you something. His voice was strained. Did you really give Lacey $20,000 for the wedding? I closed my eyes. Danny, because I just found out my parents never promised to match that amount like she claimed. And now there's this story going around that matches everything exactly, except... Danny, I can't talk about this right now. Please, I need to know. Did you actually give her the money? Detective Gross nodded encouragingly. No, I whispered. I didn't give her anything. The silence on the other end was deafening. The rehearsal dinner is tomorrow, Danny finally said. I think we need to have a serious conversation before then. After hanging up, I turned to Detective Gross. If Danny confronts her, she'll likely panic and try to run. We have officers monitoring her movements. That evening, my parents' house was tense. Lacey looked terrible, her usual perfectly maintained appearance showing cracks. Danny sat quietly, barely touching his food. So, Mom clapped her hands, ignoring the atmosphere. Final arrangements. Lacey, did you confirm the luxury cars for the bridal party? All set. Lacey's voice was brittle. Everything's perfect. Honey, Danny interrupted. Where exactly did the money come from for all this? The room went silent. What do you mean? Lacey laughed nervously. We talked about this. Selena's gift, your parents' contribution. My parents never promised any money. Danny's voice was flat. I called them today. But, Lacey looked at me desperately. Selena, tell him about your gift. I stayed silent. Lacey, Danny stood up. I need the truth. Now. The truth, Mom jumped in, is that family helps family. Selena is being difficult about a few simple charges. $25,000, I said quietly. That's what she stole from me, and she just tried to open more credit cards in my name this morning. Lacey burst into tears. You're ruining everything. Mom, make her stop. Danny, I looked him in the eye. I never gave her permission to use my card. Ever. She took it while I was sick and has been maxing it out for months. Danny grabbed his coat. I need some air and time to think. Danny, wait! Lacey ran after him. My phone buzzed one final time. Detective Gross. Warrant ready. Wedding day confirmed. Officers will wait for your signal. I watched through the window as Danny drove away, Lacey sobbing in the driveway. Mom was crying in the kitchen. Dad stared blankly at his plate. I hope you're happy, Mom spat. You've ruined everything. No. I stood up, gathering my things. Lacey did that all on her own. I'm just making sure she finally faces consequences. What does that mean? I headed for the door. It means in 48 hours, Lacey's perfect wedding will turn into something very different. And for once, none of you can stop it. The sound of Lacey's sobs followed me to my car. But for the first time, I felt no guilt, only a calm certainty that justice was finally coming. The church buzzed with excitement. I sat alone in a black dress, watching guests file in beneath elaborate flower arches, all purchased with my stolen credit card. Detective Gross and 2 officers waited discreetly in the vestibule, unmarked cars parked outside. She's really going through with it, Bella whispered, sliding into the pew beside me. Danny's here too. Did he look okay? Confused, hurt. His parents are in the front row looking like they're at a funeral. My phone vibrated. Mom. Last chance to stop this madness. Please, for your sister. I turned my phone off and settled back as the music started. The bridesmaids processed in, their designer dresses rustling. Several of them, including Sasha, avoided looking at me. They knew. Then Lacey appeared, radiant in her stolen Vera Wang gown. Dad beamed proudly as he walked her down the aisle. She was the picture of bridal perfection, except for the slight tremor in her hands and the fear behind her smile. The ceremony began. I watched Danny's face as the priest spoke about truth, honor, and commitment. He looked ill. If anyone knows any reason why these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now or forever. Hold your peace. The church doors opened. Detective Gross stepped forward, flanked by his officers. Lacey man? His voice carried clearly through the stunned silence. I have a warrant for your arrest on charges of credit card fraud and identity theft. The gasps were audible. Lacey's bouquet hit the floor. No, she whispered. No, no, no. You have the right to remain silent, Detective Gross continued, approaching the altar. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Mom! Lacey screamed. Daddy, do something! Our parents stood frozen as the officers reached her. The handcuffs clicked shut over her wrists, the sound echoing through the church. This is all your fault! Lacey shrieked at me as they led her past my pew. I hate you! I'll never forgive you! Danny stepped forward. Wait, detective? What exactly are the charges? Credit card theft exceeding $25,000, multiple attempts at identity theft, fraud across state lines due to online purchases. The wedding, Danny said slowly. Everything? It was all stolen? I'm afraid so, sir. We have documented evidence of Miss Mann using her sister's credit card without authorization, then attempting to open additional cards in her sister's name when the first card maxed out. Chaos erupted. Guests started whispering, phones recording everything. Mom collapsed into Dad's arms, wailing about her baby girl. The bridesmaids huddled together, some crying, others already posting on social media. Selena, Danny approached me, his face ashen. Did you know? This whole time? I tried to tell you, I said softly. She stole my card while I was sick. Every charge, every purchase, it was all fraud. The Reddit post, that was you? I nodded. Why didn't you stop this sooner? Because she needed to face real consequences, and you needed to see the truth before you married her. He sat heavily in the pew. $25,000. Actually, I pulled out my phone, showing him the final credit card statement. It ended up being closer to $30,000. She charged the wedding day hair and makeup this morning. Mom appeared suddenly, her mascara streaked down her face. How could you? Your own sister. How could I? I stood up. How could you? You knew she took my card. You knew everything was fraud, but you defended her like always. We're family. Family doesn't steal from family. Family doesn't commit felonies and expect everyone to cover it up. Through the church windows, I could see Lacey being placed in a police car, her white dress a stark contrast against the back seat. Photographers from local news outlets were already gathering. The reception hall, Danny muttered. All those people waiting. I'll handle it, his father said, appearing beside us. And Selena, thank you for stopping this before he married her. Guests began filing out, their excited chatter filling the air. My parents left without looking at me, following the police car carrying their precious daughter. Bella squeezed my hand. You okay? I watched as the last of the flower arrangements, my flower arrangements technically, were carried out by the church staff. You know what's crazy? I said. She could have just asked me for help with the wedding, actually asked, like a normal person. I would have helped her, within reason. But then she wouldn't have gotten everything she wanted. No, I agreed, thinking of all the years of enabling that led to this moment. She always had to have everything exactly her way. And now? I stood up, straightening my dress. Now she gets to learn about consequences, the hard way. Outside, camera flashes lit up the afternoon as Lacey's perfect wedding day turned into something very different, but exactly what she deserved. "You asked for an update," I typed on Reddit, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. Here's what happened after the wedding that wasn't. The coffee shop buzzed around me as I crafted my post. Detective Gross sat across the table, sliding documents toward me. "The plea deal is final," he said. "Your sister accepted full responsibility, probation, mandatory financial counseling, and complete restitution." "Has she actually paid anything back?" "Your parents have. They took out a home equity loan to cover the full amount and avoid her serving jail time." My phone lit up. A text from Danny. "Meeting still okay for today? He's coming here?" Detective Gross gathered his papers. He wanted to return something. After the detective left, Danny arrived, carrying a familiar envelope. "Found this in the wedding cards. Think you should have it." I opened it. My original credit card statement, the one I'd planted among the gifts. "Keep it. Evidence of a bullet dodged." "I've been thinking about that day," he said quietly. "You could have stopped it sooner. Could have had her arrested at the engagement party, or when she tried opening those other cards. You deserve to see who she really was. Everyone did. Thank you for saving me from marrying someone who could do that to their own sister." After Danny left, I returned to my Reddit update. "Lacey's on probation. She's living with our parents who mortgaged their house to pay me back. The credit card company reversed all the charges once the fraud was confirmed. But the real cost wasn't financial. Mom still won't speak to me. Dad sends awkward text messages on holidays. Family friends have chosen sides. But here's the thing. For the first time in my life, I'm okay with that. Because sometimes family isn't about blood. It's about truth. It's about consequences. It's about finally saying enough when someone treats your love like an unlimited credit line." My phone buzzed. Bella. "Court-mandated therapy started today. You coming over later?" After I finished this update, I continued typing. "The wedding video never made it online, but pieces of the arrest did. They went viral. Local news covered it. Lacey's mugshot showed up in a few Bridezilla Gone Wrong articles. But that's not why I'm updating. I'm writing because yesterday I received an anonymous letter." I pulled out the handwritten note, rereading it. "Dear Selena, you don't know me, but your story gave me courage. My brother has been stealing from me for years. Parents always covered for him. Yesterday, I finally filed a police report. Thank you for showing me it's okay to say no to toxic family." A sister who found her voice. The barista brought me a fresh coffee as I typed the final paragraphs. People keep asking if I regret it, if I wish I'd handled it differently. The truth is, I don't. Because this was never about the money. It was about patterns, about enabling, about the difference between love and exploitation. Lacey's not speaking to me, but she's speaking to a therapist. Mom and Dad are finally facing their role in creating this mess. And me? I'm learning that family can be rebuilt, but only on a foundation of respect. The credit card company sent me a new card last week. I cut it up. Some things aren't worth the risk of history repeating. So that's your update. My sister's perfect wedding became a perfect lesson. And maybe, just maybe, it'll help someone else find their voice too. I hit post and closed my laptop. Bella was waiting outside in her car. "Ready for therapy?" she asked as I got in. Actually, yes. I showed her the letter from the anonymous sister. Because sometimes doing the right thing helps more than just yourself. Speaking of right things, Bella handed me an envelope. "Danny's parents wanted you to have this." Inside was a check. There would have been contribution to the honeymoon fund. The note read, "For saving our son from a lifetime of lies. Thank you." I tucked it away, thinking of Lacey and her court-mandated therapy, of Mom and Dad finally facing consequences, of patterns broken and truths told. "You know what's funny?" I said as we drove. "Everyone thought I was destroying the family, but maybe, just maybe, this was the only way to save it." From what? From itself. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Dad. Your mother and I start counseling tomorrow. We should have done this years ago. I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in months. Because sometimes karma doesn't just wear heels and call the cops. Sometimes karma opens doors to healing, even if those doors have to be broken down first.
The first time I heard my mother call me stupid, I was standing in her kitchen holding a bag of organic produce that cost more than my first car payment. The words weren't even directed at me. She was on speakerphone, probably thinking I'd already left after dropping off her weekly groceries. My name is Reagan, and I've spent the last 6 years being the perfect daughter. The one who shows up every Saturday with fresh groceries, who covers Elias's utility bills when he's just getting back on his feet, and who smiles through 3-hour family dinners where my mother tells her friends how blessed she is to have such a devoted child. Reagan's always been our rock, Mom was saying into the phone as I stood frozen in the doorway. Ever since she got that engineering job, she's been so generous with us. I should have left then. Should have set down the kale and fancy cheese and walked away. But I stayed, caught in that familiar daughter trance of wanting to hear more, to know what she really thought of me. Oh, she owes us, Mom continued laughing. After all we've done. The words hit like ice water. I must have made some sound because Mom spun around, her perfectly lined eyes widening. Reagan, I didn't hear you come back in. She quickly ended the call. Did you remember the organic butter? It's in the bag, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Along with everything else on your list. You're such a sweetheart. She started unpacking the groceries, chattering about her book club and Dad's golf scores. I nodded, smiled, played my part. Oh, before I forget, she added, Elias called. His electricity's about to be cut off again. Would you be a dear and handle it? I finished. Sure, Mom. I'll take care of it. That's my girl, she beamed. We're so lucky to have you. I was halfway to my car when I remembered I'd forgotten to grab my package. A new planner I'd had delivered to their address because of porch pirates in my apartment complex. Heading back in, I found the pile of mail on the counter. That's when I saw it. A thick envelope with my name on it, marked, Final Notice of Repayment Default, in angry red letters. Mom, I called out. What's this? But she disappeared upstairs, probably to call her friend back. I opened the envelope, my hands shaking slightly. Inside was a loan statement for $50,000, in my name, a loan I'd never taken out. My phone buzzed. A text from Elias. Hey sis, can you handle that electric bill today? Kind of urgent. I stared at the message, then back at the loan statement. The signature at the bottom looked like mine, but something was off. The loop in the G was wrong, the slant too steep. Another text from Elias. Also, maybe spot me some grocery money? Love you. I took a photo of the loan document and slipped it back into the envelope. Mom's voice drifted down from upstairs, laughing again. No, she hasn't noticed anything, she was saying. Reagan's always been trusting. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Scarlett, my best friend. Still on for coffee tomorrow? I typed back quickly. Yes, and I need your help with something. Upstairs, Mom was still talking. We raised her right. She knows family comes first. I walked out quietly, leaving the groceries unpacked on the counter. In my car, I sat for a moment, hands gripping the steering wheel. The evening sun caught my reflection in the rearview mirror, and for the first time, I really looked at myself. The perfect daughter, the reliable sister, the eternal ATM. My phone lit up with another text from Elias. Sis? About that bill. I started the car without responding. Tomorrow, I'd talk to Scarlett. Tomorrow, I'd start digging. Tomorrow, I'd find out exactly what my loving family had been doing with my name and trust. But today? Today I finally understood why Mom always insisted I have my important mail sent to their house. Why Elias always needed just a little help. Why Dad kept telling me I didn't need to check my credit score because Family takes care of family. I pulled out of their driveway for what I didn't know would be the last normal time. Behind me, the house looked exactly the same. Warm, familiar, safe. But now I knew better. Now I knew that sometimes the most dangerous predators live right where you call home. "Holy shit," Scarlett whispered, spreading the documents across her kitchen table. "Holy actual shit, Reagan." I'd spent the morning pulling my credit reports. What I found made me wish I hadn't. 5 personal loans, 3 credit cards, 2 car loans, for cars I'd never seen. All in my name, all opened within the last 3 years. "Look at these signatures," Scarlett said, laying out the loan applications side by side. "They're close, but not quite right. Someone's been practicing your signature." My credit score, once near perfect, had plummeted to 520. The total debt was enough to make me feel physically sick. $286,000. "I think I know who did this," I said, pointing to one of the employment verification forms. "See this pay stub? I only ever shared these with Elias when he was helping me organize my taxes last year." Scarlett's face darkened. "That little weasel. Want me to go break his legs? I want to talk to him first." I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Mom, probably wondering why I hadn't paid Elias's electric bill yet. "I need to hear him say it." "You're not going alone," Scarlett insisted, grabbing her keys. 20 minutes later, we pulled up to Elias's apartment complex. The same one I'd been paying half his rent for, claiming he was building his business. He opened the door in sweatpants, looking annoyed. "Sis, what's with ignoring my texts? The electric company's breathing down my neck." I pushed past him into the apartment. Brand new gaming setup, designer sneakers, a watch that definitely wasn't from Target. "Nice stuff," I said, my voice eerily calm. "Business must be booming." "Oh yeah," he smiled, relaxing. "Things are picking up, but you know how it is with cash flow." I dropped the loan statements on his coffee table. "Sure do. Cash seems to be flowing right out of my name and into yours." His face didn't change, but his eyes did. A flicker of panic, quickly masked. "What are you talking about?" "Cut the crap," Scarlett snapped from behind me. "We've got the documents. We can see the forged signatures." "Forged?" Elias laughed, but it sounded hollow. "Come on, sis. You're being dramatic. Mom and Dad handle all that stuff. You know that." "Handle what stuff exactly?" "The family finances. They said you agreed to help, that you wanted to contribute since you're doing so well." I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app. Funny, because I'm looking at my actual contributions right now. Rent help, $15,000. Utility bills, $8,000. Weekly groceries, $24,000. Car insurance for you and Dad, $12,000. And that's just last year. Reagan, but that wasn't enough, was it? My voice cracked slightly. "You needed more. So you took my pay stubs, practiced my signature, and decided to help yourself to my credit too." He stepped toward me, hands up. "Listen, it's not what you think. We're family. Everything gets paid back eventually." "When?" I demanded. "How? You can't even pay your own electric bill." "Don't be like this," he pleaded. "Mom and Dad will be so hurt if you make a big deal about it. They only wanted to help me get started. By destroying my credit? By stealing my identity? It's not stealing when it's family," he shouted. "God, you're so ungrateful. After everything they've done for you." Scarlett moved between us. "Everything they've done? You mean raising her? That's called being a parent, you moron. It's not a debt she has to repay." My phone buzzed. Mom again. This time I answered, putting it on speaker. "Reagan, honey, is everything okay? Elias says you're at his place acting strange." "Did you know about the loans, Mom?" A pause. Too long. "What loans, sweetie?" "Don't." My voice was ice now. "Don't lie to me. Not anymore." Another pause. Then, in a completely different tone,
We'll discuss this as a family. Come over for dinner tonight. I hung up. Looked at my brother, this stranger wearing my trust like a cheap suit.
The electric company's breathing down your neck, I said quietly. Wait until the fraud department starts breathing down yours. You wouldn't, he whispered. We're blood. Blood isn't a blank check, Elias. I walked to the door, then turned back. And by the way, those utility bills you couldn't pay? They were never actually late, were they? You just wanted extra cash. His silence was all the confirmation I needed. Come on, Scarlett said, guiding me out. We need to get to the bank before it closes. Then we're calling the police. In the car, my phone kept buzzing. Texts from Mom, Dad, Elias, all saying the same thing. Family first. Don't do anything rash. We need to talk. I turned off my phone. Family first, they said. Fine. Time to show them exactly what that means. The voice recorder was smaller than my palm. A tiny black rectangle Scarlett had picked up from the electronics store. Just in case, she'd said. People show their true colors when they think no one's listening. I slipped it under my parents' kitchen counter during Sunday dinner. Right behind the cookie jar, Mom always kept filled with my favorite chocolate chip cookies. The same cookies she'd made when I got my first period, my first heartbreak, my first job offer. Reagan, honey, Mom said now, refilling my wine glass without asking. We should talk about those silly loan documents you mentioned. Dad looked up from his pot roast. Your mother's right. You seem confused about some things. I'm not confused, I said, keeping my voice steady. I saw the documents. I saw the signatures. Well, of course you did, Mom laughed too brightly. We've always handled things as a family. You knew that. No, I didn't. Don't be difficult, Dad cut in. You've done so well for yourself. It's only natural to help your brother get started. Family takes care of family. I stared at my wine glass, remembering all the dinners like this one. All the times they'd praised me while reaching for my wallet. I need some air, I said, standing up. Save me some dessert? Mom beamed. Of course, sweetie. We'll sort this all out. I drove around the block and parked, waiting. 2 hours later, I watched them leave for their weekly bridge game. The house dark, I slipped back in, using my key, and retrieved the recorder. In my car, I pressed play. She's actually upset about this? Dad's voice incredulous. After everything we've given her? She'll get over it, Mom replied. She always does. Remember when she found out we used her college fund for the boat? God, she's too stupid to notice half the things we do. Elias's voice now. Remember when she believed that story about me needing rent money because I was robbed? Laughter. My mother's voice again. At least she's good for something. Unlike you, Elias. When are you going to get a real job? Why should I? Reagan's credit score is doing all the work. More laughter. Speaking of which, Dad cut in, we need another car loan. The Mercedes is... I stopped the recording, my hands shaking. 6 years of family dinners. 6 years of, we're so proud of you. 6 years of lies. My phone buzzed. A text from Scarlett. How'd it go? I drove to her place, the recorder feeling like a bomb in my pocket. She opened her door, took one look at my face, and pulled me inside. Play it, she said. We sat on her couch as their voices filled the room. With each laugh, each casual mention of their theft, each mockery of my trust, I felt something inside me harden. I'm going to be sick, I whispered when it finished. No, Scarlett said firmly. You're going to be smart. You're going to be strategic. And you're going to make them pay. She pulled out her laptop, opened a document. I've been doing research. Identity theft within families is more common than you'd think. But it's still a felony. They're my parents, I said weakly. No. They're criminals who happen to raise you. There's a difference. My phone buzzed again. A text from Elias. Hey sis, about that electric bill. Look at this, Scarlett said, pointing to her screen. Maximum sentence for identity theft, 30 years. Minimum, 2 years. Plus, restitution. Another text from Mom. Honey, we need to discuss the family finances. Come over tomorrow? I thought about the recorder, still warm in my pocket. Thought about years of manipulation hidden behind maternal smiles and family dinners. They think I'm stupid, I said quietly. They think I'll just roll over and take it. So prove them wrong. I pulled out my phone, typed a reply to Mom. Can't tomorrow, but I'll come by Saturday. We'll sort everything out then. What are you planning? Scarlett asked. I opened my banking app, started canceling automatic payments. They want to talk finances? Fine. But first, I'm going to gather every piece of evidence, every forged document, every fake signature, every recorded conversation. And then I'm going to serve it to them like one of Mom's Sunday dinners. I looked at Scarlett, feeling something close to peace. They think this ends with tears and manipulation? I'm going to end it with handcuffs. My phone buzzed one last time. Dad. Don't do anything you'll regret, Princess. Family first, remember? I turned off my phone, thinking of the recorder's revelations, of years of theft hidden behind parental concern, of my brother's laughter as he mocked my trust.
Yeah, Dad, I whispered. Family first. And it's time this family learned about consequences. Ms. Reagan, the bank investigator, Lewis, adjusted his glasses as he reviewed the documents spread across his desk. This is extensive. I'd spent the week gathering evidence. Every fraudulent loan application, every forged signature, every recorded conversation. The stack of papers between us told a story of systematic theft spanning years. The employment verification forms, Lewis continued, these were definitely manipulated. See how the dates don't quite align with the company letterhead? My brother had access to my original pay stubs, I explained. He helped with my taxes last year. Lewis nodded, making notes. And these credit card applications, all approved within days of each other. That should have triggered fraud alerts. They had my social security number, my mother's maiden name, every security question answer. Because they were your parents. He looked up, his professional demeanor softening slightly. This happens more often than you'd think. Family fraud is particularly insidious because... My phone buzzed. Mom again. Honey, the bank's been calling us. What have you done? I showed Lewis the text. They know something's wrong. The automatic payments I canceled. Good, he said, surprising me. Let them worry. We've frozen all the fraudulent accounts. Now we wait for them to make mistakes. As if on cue, my phone rang. Elias. Should I answer? Lewis pressed record on his desk device and nodded. Reagan. Elias's voice was frantic. What the hell? My car got repossessed this morning. The car bought with a fraudulent loan in my name? Don't be dramatic. I was going to make the payments. Like you made the utility payments? The ones you lied about being late? A pause. Then lower. You're making a huge mistake. Mom and Dad are furious. They said if you don't fix this... Fix what exactly? The identity theft? The fraud? The years of stealing? We're family, he shouted. You can't do this to family. Watch me. I hung up. Lewis was already noting the time and date of the call. That's an implicit admission of guilt, he said. We can use that. My phone buzzed again. A text from Dad. Princess, your mother's crying. Is this how you repay us for everything we've done? Before I could respond, Lewis's office phone rang. His expression changed as he listened. They're trying to empty the accounts, he said after hanging up. All of them, even the legitimate ones. Can they do that? They're trying, but we've flagged everything. He started typing rapidly. And they just made our job much easier. Attempting to hide assets after fraud discovery? That's another charge. A knock at the door. A woman in a police uniform entered, badge displayed. "Detective Smith," she introduced herself. "I've been assigned to your case. Mind if I sit in?" For the next hour, we walked through everything. The loans, the forged documents, the recordings. With each piece of evidence, Detective Smith's expression grew darker. "The premeditation here is stunning," she said finally. "The systematic abuse of trust. The calculated nature of the theft." She looked at me directly. "You understand this will mean criminal charges? Prison time?" I nodded, my throat tight. "They're your parents," she said gently. "Are you sure you want to proceed?" My phone buzzed one final time. A group text from Mom to the family. "Reagan's confused. She's always been emotional, always needed guidance. That's why we managed her finances. She'll understand once she calms down. Family meeting tonight? Mandatory." I showed them the text. "Still manipulating," Detective Smith observed. "Still trying to control the narrative." "And you?" Lewis asked. "What's your narrative?" I thought about years of Saturday groceries, of utility bills and rent checks, of praise that came with price tags, of family dinners seasoned with mockery. My narrative? I pulled out one final document, a handwritten note I'd found in Elias's apartment during a legal search. His sloppy handwriting bragging about his latest loan from his stupid sister. "My narrative is simple," I said. "They committed fraud. They stole my identity. They betrayed my trust. And now they face consequences." Detective Smith nodded, gathering her files. "We'll need you to come down to the station tomorrow. Formal statements, warrant applications. And then we arrest them, all of them." She paused at the door. "Fair warning, family fraud cases get ugly. They'll say horrible things. Try to turn others against you. Are you ready for that?" I thought of the recordings, of their laughter at my expense, of years of calculated theft hidden behind parental concern. "They already say horrible things," I replied. "The only difference is now they'll say them to my face." As I left the bank, my phone lit up with another group text, this time from Dad. "Family meeting, 7 p.m. Don't disappoint us again, Princess." I smiled, thinking of the arrest warrants being prepared. "Don't worry, Dad," I whispered. "I won't." The lasagna was Mom's recipe, the same one she'd taught me when I was 12, standing on a step stool to reach the counter. I served it with garlic bread, just like she always did. A perfect family dinner. "This is wonderful, honey," Mom beamed, taking another bite. "I'm so glad we're all here to talk things through." Dad nodded, reaching for more bread. Family should always work things out together. Elias sat quietly, pushing food around his plate. He'd been jumpy since arriving, his eyes darting between me and the door. "You're right," I said, standing to get the wine. "We should talk about everything, all the family secrets." "Now, Princess," Dad started, "about those bank calls." "One moment," I interrupted, pulling out my phone. "Let me play you something first." Their recorded voices filled the dining room. She's too stupid to notice. Reagan's credit score is doing all the work. Remember when she believed? Mom's fork clattered to her plate. Dad's face turned red. Elias looked like he might throw up. "That's illegal," Dad sputtered. "You can't record people without... Like forging loan documents is legal?" I pulled out the first stack of papers from my bag. "Speaking of which, let's review your creative writing." "Reagan," Mom's voice turned sharp. "Put those away. We can discuss this like adults." "You mean like how you discussed destroying my credit behind my back? Or how you laughed about stealing my college fund?" "We raised you." Dad slammed his fist on the table. "Everything we did was for this family." "Really?" I laid out the loan documents one by one. "The Mercedes was for family? Elias's gaming setup? Your cruise to Alaska?" "You ungrateful little..." Mom started. "Here's my favorite part," I continued, pulling out more papers. "The bank's fraud department found something interesting. You didn't just steal from me. You were planning to take out more loans. Had the applications ready and everything. Elias stood abruptly. I'm leaving. Sit down, I said quietly. We're not done with family dinner. You can't tell me what to... Sit. Down. He sat. Now. I pulled out 3 identical folders, placed one in front of each of them. Here's everything. Every forged document. Every fraudulent loan. Every recorded conversation. All stamped and verified by the bank's fraud division. Mom's hands shook as she opened her folder. You wouldn't dare. We're your parents. Funny thing about parents, I said, checking my watch. They're supposed to protect their children, not steal from them. The doorbell rang. Expecting someone? Dad's voice was dangerous now. Actually, yes. I stood to answer it. I invited a few more people to our family dinner. Detective Smith stood at the door with 2 uniformed officers. Good evening, she said, stepping inside. I hope we're not interrupting dessert. The scene exploded. Mom screamed. Dad lunged for the back door, but found another officer waiting. Elias just sat there, staring at his folder like it might disappear if he looked hard enough. Brianna, Jarrett, and Elias, Detective Smith read from her papers. You're under arrest for identity theft, fraud, and conspiracy. As the officers began reading rights and applying handcuffs, Mom turned to me one last time. How could you? She sobbed. After everything we've done for you? That's just it, Mom. I gathered the folders while an officer secured her hands. You didn't do anything for me. Everything was for you. Always. We'll fight this, Dad growled as they led him out. You think anyone will believe you over your own parents? The evidence speaks for itself, Detective Smith answered for me. And attempting to empty those accounts yesterday? Not your smartest move. Elias was the last to be cuffed. He stopped beside me on his way out. You know what this means, right? He whispered. You'll have no one left. No family at all. I thought about Scarlett, waiting at her place with ice cream and support. About Detective Smith's quiet understanding. About the bank investigators' respect. I already have a family, I replied. Just not the one that stole from me? After they left, I stood in my silent dining room. Half-eaten lasagna grew cold on plates they'd never finish. Mom's wine glass still held her lipstick print. Dad's napkin lay crumpled where he'd thrown it. My phone buzzed. Scarlett. Is it done? I looked around at the remnants of our last family dinner. At the empty chairs where manipulation once sat disguised as love. At the space where family first meant you last. It's done, I typed back. They're gone. You okay? I touched Mom's lipstick-stained glass, thinking of all the family dinners that would never happen again. All the Sunday calls that wouldn't come. All the holidays that would feel different now. No, I replied honestly, but I will be. You've got 6 new voicemails, Scarlett announced, scrolling through my phone. 3 from your mom's bridge club, 2 from your dad's golf buddies, and 1 from, your Aunt Margaret. Want to hear them? I was curled up on her couch, 3 days after the arrests, still wearing the same sweatshirt I'd put on that morning. Are they awful? Let's find out. She pressed play on speakerphone. How dare you do this to your parents? Aunt Margaret's voice filled the room. They gave you everything. I always said you were an ungrateful... Scarlett deleted it mid-rant. Next? Reagan, honey. Mrs. Peterson from Bridge Club cooed. Your mother's beside herself in that horrible place. Surely we can work something out. Just drop the charges and... delete. You think you're so smart? Mr. Wilson, Dad's golf partner, growled. Your father built you up from nothing, and this is how you... delete. I buried my face in a cushion. The whole community's turning against me. Not everyone, Scarlett corrected, showing me her phone. Look at your work email. I scrolled through dozens of messages from colleagues. Saw the news. You're incredibly brave. My sister went through something similar. Here if you need to talk. Those monsters didn't deserve you. My phone rang. Detective Smith. Reagan, we've found something you need to see. Can you come to the station? 20 minutes later, I stared at more documents spread across the detective's desk. A joint account? I whispered. In my name? Opened 6 months ago, she confirmed. They were planning to drain it right before skipping town. Found the flight confirmations on your father's laptop. How much? Almost everything you have. They had paperwork ready to transfer your entire savings. My hands shook as I read the transfer forms. My signature, forged again, authorizing the movement of my life savings to an offshore account. But I found it first, Lewis said, walking in with fresh papers. We've frozen everything. They can't touch it now. They were going to take everything, I said numbly. Just disappear with my money? That's not all, Detective Smith added gently. We found this in your mother's email. She handed me a printed email chain. My mother's words glowed on the page. Reagan's getting suspicious. We need to move faster. Once the money's transferred, we'll tell her we're taking a family vacation. By the time she figures it out, we'll be gone. She's too soft to come after us anyway. When? I asked. When were they planning this? Next month, Lewis replied. Right after they took out 2 more loans in your name. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Elias. Made bail. We need to talk. Don't, Detective Smith warned. Anything you say could compromise the case. Another text. Come on, sis. Coffee at Joe's? For old time's sake? He made bail? Scarlett asked incredulously. Rich grandparents, Detective Smith explained. But your parents are still in custody. The flight risk is too high. My phone kept buzzing. Reagan, please. I can explain everything. What do I do? I looked at Detective Smith. She considered for a moment. Meet him. Wear a wire. Let's see what he has to say. An hour later, I sat across from Elias at our old coffee spot. He looked terrible, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes. You look awful, I said. Prison does that. He stirred his coffee endlessly. Listen, about everything. Save it. I saw the transfer forms, the escape plans. He flinched. That wasn't my idea. Mom and Dad were going to steal my life savings and disappear. And you knew. I was going to warn you. He leaned forward. Eventually, once I got my share. The casual cruelty of it struck me silent. Come on, sis, he tried, smiling. We can fix this. Just drop the charges. We're still family. Family? I stood up slowly. You were going to let them steal everything I had. You forged my signature. You laughed about it. Reagan? No. We're not family. We're not anything anymore. I walked out, his calls following me. What did you think was going to happen? You're nothing without us. In my car, I pressed the wire's stop button. Detective Smith's voice came through my earpiece. We got it all. Good work. I drove to Scarlett's, where she waited with wine and understanding. You okay? She asked as I collapsed on her couch. No, I admitted. But at least now I know. Know what? I thought of Elias's words, of Mom's emails, of Dad's escape plans, that sometimes losing your family, I said quietly, is better than letting them destroy you. Ms. Reagan? My office receptionist's voice crackled through the intercom. There's a man here insisting on seeing you. Says he's your father. I froze over my blueprints. 2 weeks since the arrests, and they still wouldn't leave me alone. Call security, I replied, and then call Detective Smith. Through my office window, I watched security escort Dad from the building. He looked smaller somehow, his golf polo wrinkled, his usual confident stride reduced to an old man's shuffle. My phone buzzed. Scarlett. Your mom's friends are outside my apartment again. Want me to call the cops? Before I could reply, an email notification popped up. From Brianna. Subject: Please read. Your mother needs you.
Your father lost his job today. Our reputation is ruined. Is this what you wanted? To destroy your family? We raised you better than this. If you drop the charges now, we can still... Delete. My desk phone rang. Lewis from the bank. Good news, he said without preamble. We've cleared the last fraudulent account. Your credit score should start recovering soon. And the liens? All removed. You're officially free and clear. Free. The word felt strange, like a new shirt that didn't quite fit yet. Another email arrived, this time from Detective Smith. Court date set for next month. Prosecution wants to meet tomorrow to prep your testimony. Also, you should know, your brother's been talking. Wants a deal. Says he has more evidence about their plans. I closed my laptop, gathered my things. Outside, the summer air felt heavy with approaching rain. Reagan! I turned to find Mrs. Peterson, Mom's bridge partner, hurrying across the parking lot. Please, she called, just listen. Your mother's not eating. She's desperate to talk to you. Surely you can find it in your heart. Like she found it in her heart to steal from me? The words came out sharper than I intended. To laugh about it. To plan her escape with my money. But she's your mother. No, I said quietly. She's a thief, who happened to give birth to me. There's a difference. At home, I found more messages. Voicemails from relatives I hadn't heard from in years, all suddenly experts on family loyalty. Emails from Dad's golf club friends, suggesting I was mentally unstable. A letter from Mom's church group, praying for my lost soul. My phone rang, an unknown number. Hello? Reagan? A woman's voice, vaguely familiar. This is your Aunt Sarah. Your mother's sister? I hadn't heard from her in 15 years. What do you want? To tell you you're not crazy. And you're not alone. She paused. They did the same thing to me. Years ago. That's why I disappeared. I sat down hard. What? Your mother and father. They stole my inheritance, forged my signature. When I threatened to go to the police, they turned the whole family against me. Her voice cracked. Sound familiar? Why didn't you ever say anything? Who would have believed me? They were the perfect couple, the loving parents, the pillars of the community. She laughed bitterly. I saw the news. Finally, someone stood up to them. After we hung up, I sat in my dark apartment, thinking about patterns, about cycles of abuse dressed up as family loyalty, about how sometimes the bravest thing isn't forgiveness. It's saying, enough. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Elias. Prosecutor offered me a deal. Tell them everything about Mom and Dad's plans. Less jail time. A pause then. Should I take it? I thought about family loyalty, about the brother who forged my signature while laughing at my trust, about the parents who raised me to be an ATM. Yes, I typed back. Tell them everything. Another text arrived immediately. They'll never forgive me. I looked at the framed engineering degree on my wall, the one I'd earned while they were stealing my future. At the business cards with my name on them. At the life I'd built that they'd tried to take. Their forgiveness doesn't matter anymore, I replied. Neither does mine. Thunder cracked outside. The summer storm finally breaking. My phone lit up one final time. Detective Smith. Loan fraud case closed. All liabilities expunged. I walked to my window, watched lightning split the sky. Thought about Aunt Sarah, vanished for 15 years because no one would believe her. About all the family dinners where love came with interest rates. The rain fell harder, washing everything clean. Tomorrow I'd meet with the prosecutors. Next month, I'd testify. But tonight I'd let the storm rage outside while I stayed safe and dry, finally free from the people who thought love was something you could steal. Guilty on all counts. The judge's words echoed through the courtroom. Mom collapsed into Dad's arms. Elias stared at the floor, I sat between Scarlett and Aunt Sarah, breathing for what felt like the first time in months. The defendant Brianna will serve 5 years, the judge continued. Jarrett, 4 years. Elias, 18 months with possibility of parole, in consideration of his cooperation. Mom turned to face me, her mascara running. Reagan, please, don't let them do this. The bailiff stepped between us as they were led away. Dad wouldn't look at me. Elias mouthed, "I'm sorry," as they took him through a different door. Outside the courthouse, reporters clustered with microphones. How does it feel to send your parents to prison? Any comments on the verdict? What would you say to other victims of family fraud? Aunt Sarah squeezed my hand. You don't owe them anything, but I stepped forward anyway. I'd say that love shouldn't come with loan documents. That family isn't a business transaction, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is say no to the people who raised you to say yes. Back at my apartment, Scarlett opened wine while Sarah ordered pizza. I have something to show you, Sarah said, pulling out her laptop. Remember how I mentioned others might come forward? She opened a website, familyfraudsurvivors.org. The homepage showed my story, alongside dozens of others. The comment section overflowed with similar tales. My parents did this to me, too. Finally, someone spoke up. You gave me courage to check my credit score. It's gone viral, Scarlett said, scrolling through. You're helping people, Reagan. My phone buzzed. Detective Smith. Thought you'd want to know. Your parents' house just sold at auction. Restitution payments will start next week. I walked to my window, looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, Mom and Dad were heading to separate prisons. Elias to a minimum security facility. Their perfect family facade finally shattered. The doorbell rang. Lewis from the bank. Sorry to interrupt, he said, holding up a folder. But I thought you'd want to see this in person. Inside was a single document. My new credit report. Score, 810. How? I whispered. Turns out when you help bust a major fraud ring, credit agencies pay attention. He smiled. Congratulations. You're free and clear. Sarah came to stand beside me. Speaking of clear, she handed me another document. I had my lawyer draw this up. Legal name change papers. Just needed my signature. You don't have to keep their name, she said softly. You don't have to carry them with you anymore. I thought about Mom's maiden name. No, that carried too much history. Thought about making up something new. But then I looked at Scarlett, who'd stood by me through everything. Actually, I said, I know exactly what name I want. I filled out the form. Reagan Wise. Your last name? Scarlett's eyes welled up. Really? You're more family than they ever were. My phone buzzed one last time. An email from the Family Fraud Survivors website. Would you consider speaking at our next support group? Your story is helping so many people realize they're not alone. I looked around my apartment. At Scarlett, my chosen sister. At Sarah, the aunt who understood. At Lewis, who'd helped me rebuild. At the life I'd reclaimed. Yes, I typed back. I'll tell them everything. Pizza's here, Scarlett called from the kitchen, and I got garlic bread. I smiled, remembering other family dinners, other garlic bread, other versions of love that came with conditions. Coming, I called back. Save me a slice. Sarah caught my arm as I passed. You okay? I thought about Mom's tears in court, Dad's averted eyes, Elias's whispered apology. Thought about the weight of their name I'd finally set down. You know what? I said. I really am. We gathered around my coffee table. My new family, chosen and true. No loans to discuss, no guilt to serve, no love to earn. Just pizza and wine and people who saw me for who I was, not what I could give them. Outside, the city hummed with life. Somewhere in that buzz, other families sat down to dinner. Some whole, some broken,
some wearing masks of perfection while hiding rot beneath. But here, in this moment, I was exactly where I needed to be, with exactly who I needed to be with. Reagan Wise. It fit perfectly, like finally coming home to myself.